Gratitude on joining me again. I knew we were having a little minor technical hiccup, and we're back at it. Hopefully, the sources that be will allow this to actually transmute into something prolific and profound. And I'm loving the fact that you guys actually take the time out of your day to day to actually greet me with your presence and share your experiences with me. The topic is beyond the surface, hurt and healing. Um, I know you were going into details more about your prior circumstances with your dad. I don't know if you'd like to share again or step forward into something different.
Well, again, like I said, grief and getting over pain with a loss of a loved one or a career, um, whatever the loss is, according to Rich, um, it's like a death, and I believe that. So there's a grieving process, and as far as my my dad is concerned, I'm still like working through that. I have times where I can actually use his his wisdom, his listening ear, and the funny thing is I'm daddy's girl. So um my dad and I had a relationship that I don't know, we were very close. I can pick up the phone and call him, and just by the sound of my voice, he knew something was wrong. And his response would be, "How can I help?" And I'm a grown woman. I've been married uh, for what 30 years. I have children, grandchildren, and if my dad was alive today, if I called him with any issue, his first response would be, come home. Like, let me take care of you. Let me fix it. Like, come home. He was always so protective of me. And again, we had that connection. So when he passed, it was like my earth shattered, my foundation as I knew it shattered. Um, I don't want to appear like more dramatic, or I'm just trying to tell you how I felt like lost, totally lost. The hole in my heart was huge. My foundation, it was like I was confused. I was confused, and my question and conversation was with God. What's your plan? How, why? I mean, all the questions. And eventually, I just began to accept it differently and have my moments where I would grieve and cry and have all the trauma by myself, and then come out and be okay and do it all over again until it just like passed on in time.
Yeah, but you notice I put a section in my book called Death and Dying. And because when I was going through my depression, somebody died in my family also. And I was like, you know, I thought
Oh.
God loved me. That was my thoughts, right?
Hmm.
And I got to the point to where who cares?
Hmm.
And what got me after getting through all of this, I noticed Jackie and Jermaine that um a person must very early understand that dying is part of living. Now, what does that mean? What I bear with me, guys, on this. What I mean is, it can get complex, but what I mean is, a person can get attached to something very early, like a child. You ever watch a child when you give it a toy? He gets consumed by it.
Mm-hmm.
And or whatever that he likes, he or she likes, when they're very young, they get consumed by it. And then when you take it away, sometimes they throw a tantrum, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it's part of human nature. I'm not saying don't grieve over a death and the process and all. I'm not saying that that's not important. What I'm saying is when a person understands that dying is a part of living, you must understand the death, because we have to be careful with words, because in Jackie's experience, her father was so close. It was so it was so real. It was so correct. It was perfect, almost, to say the word. And then he's gone. But he's not really gone. He, death is not the word for Jackie and her father. He's still with her, but in another form. And
I appreciate, I don't
yes.
mean to cut you, but I appreciate that so much. Rich, I appreciate it. You have no idea.
Mhm.
I
Yes. Yes. And
I still I still get choked up when I talk about him sometimes. And for you to say that, I believe that because at times I smell his perfume. It out of nowhere I would smell him and I would know he's there, and I would just speak like, "Hey dad, what's up? I miss you." And I'd be okay because I know he's there. So thank you for that.
oh, look, I applaud you, Jackie, because it takes a strong person to get through. Because society is so self-centered. We have to go to work. We're so on this time. We're so with everybody's hurt and everybody's hurting, and this brings unhappiness. And then when you have somebody come along in life like Jackie's father, who's so the opposite of the self-centered person of society, and you lose that, because the grievance is there, because when he was there in person, he made the world such a better place. And so we have to be careful with this death word, because human beings, that's why I always say positive energy. It never dies. It just takes different forms. It's like at one time, Jermaine, Jackie, and Rich Lamar was in a woman's womb living underwater. And then we die to that. The water breaks and we take this form. And it's communication in every form. That's what my point is. But we're so Europeanized that when the slave owners seen the slaves grieving over the African that died, who was happened to be their daughter or somebody lynched, and they see them talking to them, and it's like, oh, that nigger's dead. You're still talking. They create this thing called ghost. This see, they create a thing that, like, ghost, like it's some kind of, no, it's still there. Our ancestors continue to talk to us. Our loved ones continue to talk to us. It's like somebody who can make great music, and then if that person passed away, the music and their spirit is still there. And but when we get consumed in life, we get so bullied at the job. We get so bullied at trying to make the bills. We get so bullied with trying to fit into society. Then when that one that who was on our side passes, we think it's gone forever. No.
So, so is it more so missing frequency? Because in order to dance with a certain beat, you have to either hear that melody or flow on that frequency. So,
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but I see it as we must we must we must we must enter over and understand that dying is a part of living. That means I can love my car, but I'm gonna have to die to it one day. I love my suit, but I'm gonna have to die to it one day. I love my kids and my parents, but I'm gonna have to die to that one day because they die. Or I became a sane person when I uncovered that in life, no matter how great it is, all things blossom and wither away, including me. So this earth is designed to go on with or without us. That's why we must take advantage of now and tell somebody you love them whenever you can, because tomorrow never knows. But if tomorrow happens to be a tragic thing of somebody passing, we must not forget the love we learned from them and to continue to communicate in another form. But dying is a part of living, because every day we change a little, because every day we die a little. If anybody's old enough, they see that, hey, I'm gray over here. So we're all evolving into something.
Yeah, if you
But
see me, if you see me keep playing in the mirror, I'm just looking at my one gray strand. I'm actually loving it. So,
but but I tell you this, Jermaine. I tell you this. There was a time. I mean, when you're a certain age, everybody's alive. Everybody's alive, and you're loving life. But when you get to like the 40s and the 50s, everybody start to pass away now. You know, and now you have to deal with something you never had to deal with before. You know, I'm getting older. I'm getting slower. I'm dying in another way. My brother, who I was so close to, is dying. My mother is dying. But you must understand that that is not death. It's just how life is. But you can grieve yourself to death, because society is so selfish and so self-centered. You want to hold on to that loved one, but you must learn to let go. You don't learn until you let go.
True.
And
Very true.
my thing is, why are we failing to understand the worth of another next person? Why are we so numb to the day to day with interacting with people that we truly care about?
we're so conditioned by society. They condition us to be self-centered. If you have time to look at it, we got to become something. We got to compete. We got to be tough and aggressive. How can you be sensitive to somebody else's feelings when you're so busy being tough? We're human, so we feel, we cry, we I don't care if you have a big family. There's certain people in the family that you're closer to than others. It's just human nature, but we must learn to let go, not forget about the person. Not I'm not saying you shouldn't grieve and it's not a process, and you shouldn't feel sorry if somebody dies. Just keep moving. No, because life is going to move on whether you grieve or not. If you notice that big thing that you went through, life didn't stop. Life doesn't wait for us to get smart. Life doesn't wait for us to come from the funeral. Life doesn't wait for us. You know, when the mother is pregnant and that baby is ready to come out, that water breaks. Nothing's going to stop that baby from coming out, even if it means death to the baby and the mother. This is how Earth works. And
Wow.
and nothing's going to stop death. And nothing's going to stop death. No matter how much you love that person, nothing's going to stop death either. That passing.
I mean, I believe death is the actual controller of life, because I said it on the last live. If you find out tomorrow you're no longer gonna be here, you wanna live every single second like it was the best you ever had. You wanna reconnect. You wanna do so much, right? You even wanna ask for more time, and that might look at you and ask you, "Yo, what happened to all the time you had when you were running around eating what you were eating?" Disrespecting people the way you were disrespecting them, messing up your temple and so on and so forth. Now you want more time? What happened to all the time you wasted?
Right.
You
You
But
know?
what?
know, in life, Jermaine, I mean, um not exactly young. I'm not exactly old either. I don't consider myself. I don't look at like age. But my experience with my father's death has opened my eyes to accepting death in the sense that I'm okay with it. Like I'm
Yes.
seriously okay with it because I know that it's not the end, and knowing that I will be where he is, hopefully according to what we're taught, it's it's almost something to look forward to. And I think when we reach that stage, like some of us on our deathbeds, or some of us come to a consciousness in life where we accept death, that we're not afraid of it anymore. And that's where I'm at. I'm not afraid of it anymore. I mean, all honestly, no one wants to die according to the saying, but everybody wants to get to heaven. Everybody wants to move on. Everybody wants that, to get to that place that it's supposed to be. I don't know. We no one ever came back and said what it was. But again, it's you know, it's a process that we have to be okay with according to Rich. It's the natural order of things. There is no getting away from it. So I'm just like I'm okay with it.
And that's beautiful. See, Jackie said a beautiful thing. See, we don't talk about death enough. You notice that we always stray away from graveyards, stray away from death, stray away from talking about that. No, let's talk life, not death. I don't mean death in the words as something final. I mean, we must understand what dying is. We must understand, we must enter over and understand what dying is. They say to love is to die. What dies? Selfishness dies. So when a loved one dies, why do I don't want to go on the next day? I've been at you know how black people act at funerals. They scream, "Oh, I want to go with them." Oh no, you fall on the casket, all of this stuff. and and when you sit and look at these things, and you wonder, are they sad for the person that's dead, or are they crying for themselves?
Wow. Greetings, Tony.
Hey y'all.
Greetings.
That's
Hey.
that's well stated. I mean, to be honest, I don't understand it just yet. I've heard stories like, for instance, my children mom, like she got burnt up at 10, and to her, she has died, and that was her rebirth through the fire. So sometimes hearing her saying, I'm not scared of whatever, but when I have close moments, my heart whew, pounds, and I react a certain way. You know that hollow feeling you get within your stomach? You know, I'm like, damn, I don't think I always be psyching myself, yo, it's not my time yet. Like, yo, I'm gonna live to see 150. I keep telling myself that, but you get a certain way when certain things happen, and society tends to program us to fear death more so understanding it.
Yes, yes, that's my point. We're so conditioned to fear this thing called death. Oh, that's a graveyard. Don't walk by it. And people freak out when I say a graveyard is a beautiful thing. How can you say that? I said, because everyone in that grave is the story of humanity. Everyone in that grave left somebody who loved them. And if we understand, see, heartbreak is a selfish thing. That's what I mean. Death is a deep thing. Dying is a deep thing. So you must look at it deeply. And when you look at it very deeply, you notice that a lot of people cry at funerals. They're crying for themselves. That's how deep this dying thing is. But Earth says, and spirituality says, it's time for me to take him in this form. But we want to hold on. That's being selfish. In a way, it's a form of selfishness.
Okay, I'm gonna
Now,
ask. you guys this though, right? Since you were speaking, you can answer. Then we go to the queens afterwards. Um, you said it's selfish, but at the end of the day, where did we get that idea from to be that way?
Because we are conditioned by ideas and by and that death is a bad thing, and society is so self-centered. I have to become something. I have to do great. I have to compete. I have to get a good grade. I have to do well in school. I have to be aggressive. And it's hard to be a sensitive person and to see life as it is when you're so busy trying to become something and aggressive and beat somebody out of something and be this person society wants you to be. But you're a human being. So you love your mother and father, you love your children, you love you, but we're conditioned out of being sensitive to understanding what dying is in life. I mean, it starts very early. I mean, the best way I can illustrate it is the Super Bowl is tomorrow. And some people have the 49ers and some people have the Kansas City. If Kansas City loses, the people go crazy. Look at the Google, and look at the YouTube of people who teams lost. They fall out. They break the TV. They fight each other. You know, and we can't control death. You can't control that game. Dying is a part of living, but we try to control it. We can't get too attached to anything because everything blossoms and withers away. We must understand that.
Hey, Ma, how would you answer that? Or Rich statement pretty much just sums it up for you.
He kind of sum it up for me. It When someone dies, according to him, who are you really crying for? It's for you. You're crying for you. You're crying because you're gonna miss that person. You're crying because you can no longer have that touch, that conversation, that look, whatever interaction you had with that person. So basically you're crying for all those reasons. You're crying because you're gonna miss that person. But that is just a transition. It's something we must go through, and yeah, there's no escaping it. It's either you're okay with it or you're not. But at some point, I guarantee you'll be okay with it. You're gonna have to be.
Tony, you want to chime in on that? Okay.
I'm not really sure what to say or add to that. Some great points were made. Oh,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, was there a specific question? I don't know.
So the topic again.
Hey y'all.
The
Hello,
topic
Tony.
again
Yay.
is beyond the surface, hurting and healing. So one form which we pretty much spoke on just now is the significance of death and life. Mommy was sharing her experience with her dad. Rich was deciphering some of that, and he actually added his own profound answer to sum it up. So the next question to you guys that I will ask, knowing these things, right? And having a deeper understanding than the stereotypical views of somebody else, how would you heal going forward pertaining to that? Because not everybody knows that they're supposed to look at death as this and it's a selfish thing, or not everybody has the antidote to heal himself. So knowing what you know, how would you teach someone on healing them?
I always tell, women, I learn a lot from women. I'm not going to be long on this one because I really want to hear from the women. When a woman is pregnant and she has a baby, and Jackie can correct me if I'm wrong. It's a I won't say it's a terrible thing, but it's a painful thing. I'm sure the woman goes through so. And my point is, if she just concentrates on that pain, she would never have another baby. But when that baby comes, she grabs the baby in love and sensitivity, and that's there. And then a few years later, and my grandmother had 14 kids, and sometimes the next year she had another kid, but she was going through so much pain with the last one. I think if she concentrated on the pain, she would never have another baby. So what I'm saying is, we need to look at understanding dying and hurt instead of the hurt itself, because everybody hurts, everybody gets hurt. Life is a struggle, but we need to understand what that struggle is, not create our own struggles, but understand that we're in a society where everybody's hurt and hurting. And so when a loved one dies, we're really going to go through some hurt and depression, because you don't get that in life. You don't get a lot of people that care about you in this life. So we must understand and not be attached to whatever we love, not in a selfish way, but we must understand all things blossom and wither away, and keep the love and keep the communication going, but in a different way. But I think if people remember a toothache, or a woman remember a birth, if they just concentrate on the pain, and they would never have another baby. But you forget about the toothache after it's gone. And I think to drag on and remember a death and to grieve yourself to death, that's where it's controlling you to where you don't understand it. So that birth thing, I see women go through some terrible things, and then they have another baby that they can't. If they remember the pain, correct me if I'm wrong, Jackie. If you remember the pain, would you think about having another one?
Hell no. I will not even consider it. And I did that 5 times. And if I let me say this, if I had my last son first, there would be no 5 kids. Because I say in a joking matter sometimes, as like, he tried to kill me. He literally tried to kill me. I believe that. So
Wow.
so you're right in that. But to answer your question, Jermaine, I don't know if you can prepare anyone for the loss of a loved one. Like I said before, the person can be ill and to the point where the life keeping them alive makes no sense, and you still have people battling with, should I let them go? Should I take them off of life support? Should I? And then when they do, it's like, oh God, it's a lot. But let me say this. If I am to prepare my kids, because that's who I worry about, it would be, it's a transition, number one. And I'm just leaving this earthly plane. And you can just call my name. You can speak to me anytime. You can carry those memories. Remember the things I have taught you. Remember the love we share. Remember the closeness. I take every opportunity when I speak to my kids to reinforce how much I appreciate them, how much I am thankful for them, because I have some wonderful kids. From all 5, I have wonderful kids. I don't have most problems that parents have out there with the kids into drugs and the kids in the gang and all that. I've never known that. My kids are, I don't know, I've been blessed. And for me to prepare them to let me go, it's, I think I have kids that's going to understand, but it's not going to be an easy process for them because of how close I am with each and every one of them. It's going to be a traumatic experience, but nonetheless, they are spiritually inclined enough. I have also um, impart them onto that knowledge to let go. They need to let go and understand that I'm still right there in memory. I'm still right there. But there's an African proverb that says it is a natural, it's the natural order of things for a parent to die and leave the child or children. But it is considered a curse if a child should die and the parent survives. They look at it that way. It's not a blessing. It's a blessing when you can leave your children to live their life. But when you have to bury your child, it's not considered a blessing. So again, the fact that my father passed on, I feel connected to the other side more so than before. So I feel connected to him strongly. I mean, even more so, if that makes sense.
Oh, that makes perfect sense to me.
Tony.
Hey, so I'm not really sure. Okay, I don't know, like the discussion. I'm kind of like hard to follow. When we talk about death, I'm like, don't want to talk about death. But yeah, I think my mom, for the most part, um, hit the nail on the head where, we're concerned. I know for me, I can't speak for my siblings. I've grown in my understanding of, just letting people go, whether it be physical death or a relationship death. Um, and it is a necessary part of life, um, because it operates in a duality with birth and renewal. And in order to really appreciate um, those we have in our lives, unfortunately, there is the, well, I can't even really say that. I was going to say something and I kind of had a moment and I'm like, nope, I'm not going to say that. Um, I think that I'm not entirely sure how the discussion of death plays into this topic, but
Hurting,
for the most
and
part,
healing.
yeah,
And grief.
like in grief. Okay, well, I guess that works. I mean, I totally made a post the other day about grief and love and how they are duality, and you can't love without feeling. If you can't feel sadness, then you can't feel love. If you can't feel love, then you can't feel sadness. And there's so much to be said about it, you know. And yeah, it's
Okay.
very abstract.
Um, for me, actually, it's not so abstract for me. What you just said makes sense, and the reason why I asked the question earlier, Ma, is how you prepare someone, right? Because analyzing people, and whether it's in the workplace or whether it's going for a walk or whatever, we're unprepared for life as well. We're not prepared to actually live our best lives, and that's why I asked that question. Like, how do you prepare someone for? Because you have, say for example, like you're hurting and you call to confide in me, right? And I'm not so attached with what you're saying at the same time, right? And you can hear this. So upon being hurt, you feel some type of way within my response to what you're saying to me. So you have a buildup of actual hurt more, and it becomes something that it's not supposed to become, and it expands into this giant thing pretty much. And this is what, for me, what we do on a daily basis. And we forgot that we're actual living beings that's not supposed to be unhappy, that's not supposed to be hurting. Because within the process of that hurt, we're slowly killing ourselves too. So that's why it's not so abstract to me, because I'm looking at it pretty much on a different level. And that's why it's like beyond the actual surface level of things.
Can I say something? I hear what you're saying, but according to Tony, there's a duality in life, and there's a balance that's required in nature, universe. So basically, as far as hurting is concerned and pain, believe it or not, there is a saying that sometimes your blessing comes in a disguise. Sometimes you go through a traumatic experience in life and it builds you. After the breakdown, there is a build up, there is a growth, there is a lesson learned. Most of the time, if we're lucky, we learn that lesson. And that is what hurt is. You can take hurt and learn from it. You can take that tragedy and turn it around. Like I said, from the death of my father, I am now in a better place mentally and spiritually, thinking about death, thinking that it's okay. I'm not afraid of it. So that traumatic experience I went through has I have evolved. I have reached another level in my life where I know that that needed to happen then. It needed to take place then for me to reach the place I am now. I love my dad tremendously. I miss him. But that had to happen. There is a plan. I don't believe in chances and accidents, and I there's a lesson in everything, and life has a way, and the universe in teaching us the necessary lessons to become our full selves. So hurt has its place in our lives. Disappointment has its place in our lives, and we need to learn whatever lesson it's trying to teach us. So,
And
regardless of whether it's death of a loved one, of a career, of a relationship, whatever it is, it's something that needed to happen because there's a lesson you need to learn from it.
that's a beautiful thing. And I must say, and for the listeners who's wondering why we're talking about death or this, let me just clarify something. We're talking about hurt and healing. And when somebody gets hurt, it could be from a death, it could be from a loved one leaving, it could be from a boyfriend breaking up or girlfriend breaking up. Hurt has a lot of branches. We're just on the subject of the branch of the hurt that comes from a death. But what Jackie said was so beautiful, because that's the point I was trying to make. We are all evolving, and in that evolving, we come and go. Not just us, everything. You look at a flower, it's so beautiful, and then the next day it's so ugly. We're all blooming and withering away, but we're not, there's no death. We're just evolving. But Jackie's inner over and understanding this passing, because she's learning. You don't learn until you let go. How can you learn if you're holding on to something? You can't pay attention to life if you're holding on, if you're attached. That's addiction. When you're addicted, it becomes attached. Attachment is corruption. I'm not saying Jackie was attached or anything. I'm saying whoever grieves over a death too long is attached too long. You don't learn
Mm-hmm.
about evolving in life until you learn how to let go. It's like getting up from a seat. You totally leave that seat. You totally forget about you were sitting there after a while. I'm not saying forget about the loved ones that's passed. You must understand that life is about evolving and learning. You cannot learn in life because hurting is holding on. Healing is letting go.
But that's, I mean, that's kind of the point I was trying to make. In certain conversations, I come off like that because I'm not attached, and to sway on that point that you made, being attached is holding on, pretty much. But if you're not attached to anything, right? You welcome all things, and you let it flow through you.
Yeah, but society teaches us that attachment. Oh, I'm attached to you, and you see it in relationships where the man is aggressive, he's beating on his woman. That's corruption. That's attachment. You don't own her. I don't care if you're married to her, she has your kids. You do not own that woman. But they're attached. They're holding on. This person they get corrupt, and they make all these must and must nots, and it's a terrible thing because you don't learn how to get along with life and with others until you learn how to let go and understand that no matter how good it is, it's never as good as you think. No matter how bad it is, it's never as bad as you think. Life goes on. It doesn't wait for us to get smart. It doesn't wait for us to come around. Life, if there's something going on that's beyond our control, stop trying to control it. Jackie didn't sit down with Tony's father and say, okay, let's make Jackie now. A beautiful blessing came, whether they knew it or not. We come through our parents, not from them. We come from that place that we evolved with. But we get attached and get aggressive in relationships, and we die by grieving when we try to control it. That's what hurting is. You should ask yourself when you're hurting, or ask somebody that's hurting, what is hurting? What is hurting? What is hurting? What My heart hurts, but your heart, is it your physical heart? I think hurt is the image that you want didn't manifest. And you must learn that your image is not a real thing.
It says though in the beginning of the first one we did before the actual mess up of the signal, that's what we're saying. Like, we tend to uphold this fabricated importance. So we will do anything and move any which way, whether it's hurting somebody else or doing something to cause conflict, to hold on to that fabrication when it's not really us.
Yes, that's a good point. I think hurting too long happens. I'm not saying don't hurt. It's a natural thing. People grieve. We have feelings. But when it goes on too long and you try to own somebody and you try to take it out on somebody, you can't control life. Look, if it was up to us, nobody would die, right?
Rich, isn't that when for me, I don't know, I could be wrong, but when someone is in a situation as such where they're grieving too long and they're holding on to that pain too long, isn't that a form of depression, though?
That is depression because you're being controlled by that feeling, by that image that you want to keep alive. An image is not a real thing. That's why it's depression, because you're living in an illusion.
So then, other than that healing from that loss, whatever it is, there is, to me, you need more of an in-depth search. Like you have to get help, because then for me, some people are fortunate enough to pull themselves out of depression.
Yes.
I was able to do that because, trust me, I was depressed. I mean, I was literally crying every day, and I don't know for how long. I know it was more than a year. I kid you not. I was literally crying every day and replaying the service in my head. I replaying the last conversations in my head. I was just reliving these moments with my dad. And it's like one day I sat there and it's like self talking to self, like, what are you doing? Like, what are you really doing?
Yes,
You know,
Jackie.
you need to snap
Yes,
out of it. You need to let go. You just like a light just went on in my head, and it's just like, okay, I need to stop this. I need to get myself together because it's gonna be the death of me if I don't. So I
Jackie.
had to choose.
No, go ahead. I'm
Yeah, I
sorry.
had to choose. I had to choose me. I had to choose life. I had to let go of him so that I can embrace me, that I could live, because literally I was obsessed with it. I was in like a hole, and literally I that was my conversation with my sister. It's like I feel like I can't breathe, like I'm in this box and there's no air, and there's just nothing but me and darkness. And to me, that was depression. And again, it was it I had no choice but to let go. And I think with grief, whether it's a relationship or a death or whatever the loss is, you have to reach that breaking point where you have to come to that conclusion and that reality, like, if I don't let go, it's going to be the death of me. Am I ready to die? Am I ready to let go? So it's a choice.
Yeah, let me say this, Jackie. It got to a point with me where I became suicidal. Okay, and
Wow.
this is what I mean when I'm not saying you became suicidal. I'm saying I was suicidal. But what got me what
Hmm.
what 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 got me correct, I tell people this all the time. You are never alone. You may be driving alone. You may be in your bed alone. You may be in your room alone. You may be walking in the woods, but you are never alone. And why am I saying that? Is because when you're depressed and that voice comes and says, "Get yourself together." See, our inner heart, this is what I mean in the beginning of the broadcast, that hurt is so deep, you must look at it deeply to get over it. You can't in hurt or get through something that's deep superficially. If I'm grieving over my dad's death, I don't care if you buy me a new car, it's not going to stop that. You can buy me a car or a house, it's not going to stop that. You must look at this deeply. See, society, we're so programmed to deal with deep things superficially. And what Jackie expressed was a deep thing. See, you're never alone, and that voice of your heart is always correct. That voice of your heart is order. But we go outside ourselves, and hurt controls us. It is depression. Depression is when your image did not manifest and you keep living with that image. It's an illusion. You're living in an illusion, and the only way to get out of that is to see that it is an illusion, and you must let go. Letting go helps you understand that everything is evolving. You're never alone. That voice inside of you is always with you. But our thoughts are conditioned. The inner voice is always keeping order, but thought is always thinking. And see, thought hates change. And if you don't believe me, just say I'm moving to another city, and thought will say you can't, and I'll bring up all of these excuses why you can't. That's why you can't be depressed without thought. Thought hates change, and nothing shocks a human being more than a change of somebody dying, because it's so final. You have to accept it, but you can grieve yourself to death not accepting it. But like Jackie said, learning to let go is learning about how to go through life and understanding that dying is a part of living. That's why if you fear living, you will fear dying.
Well said. I also had a couple suicidal hiccups in my 22nd and 23rd birthdays, pretty much. Um, and family can cause that as well. Not understanding one another and not seeing people for who they are versus what you want them to be. So within my family, to a certain extent, it was like there's this mockery, right, where it's like I wasn't as light as the bunch, so I always get picked on, like, yo, he's a jacket. Like, mommy know that terminology. Yo, he's a jacket. He's like, oh, he don't have his dad, such and such. And going through high school, like, I was really hurting, but I kept that facade up with this smile of mine, where I'll be good around people. And then the next minute, I'm testing how close I can walk towards the edge of the train, to the point where I almost fell off and something pulled me back. And up to this day, I don't know what it is. And I know a voice followed, like, it's not your time, buddy.
You're never alone.
Wow.
The second time, sniffing pneumonia, felt like somebody put a gun and released a bullet into my head. Like every mucus within my body, it sucked the oxygen. I was stifling for air. A voice again, it's not your time. What are you doing? Going around feeling hurt 24/7 because of somebody else. It's not even you. And you're absolutely right, because I'm a testament to that. I have plenty of stories I've really never shared. I've actually had another one where my mom sent me and my friend for the car. He had his license, but kids, I wanted to drive, right? I was like, let me drive. He's like, nah, you don't have your license. So my stubborn ass sat on the actual trunk of the car. He pulled off. When he pulled off, it happened so fast. When I say I felt on my neck and I heard every single bone crack within my neck, and I blanked out, I got back up and I feel this sensation like, dude, it's not you. It's not your time. I keep hearing that. And to the point I started like, you know what? I matter more than what I am actually seeing, what anybody else is showing me. And if I want change, right, I have to start that change with me. And I started detaching myself from things. Some people may say I'm numb, but it's not numbness to me. If I'm not attached to what somebody else is saying, it cannot affect me. It just passed straight through me.
Yeah, that's why.
It's a survival technique.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm saying it's a survival technique. You not responding, you're not allowing yourself to experience certain things. It's a protect me mode, I call it too. It's you putting a wall up or a fence to protect yourself from being disappointed or hurt again. And you see, issues like this needs to be discussed. We need to speak more on depression. It's a very serious thing. You have young Black kids, it's on the rise, where they're committing suicide. What has lost? What are we missing with our children? What are we missing?
And that's why me and Jermaine talked about this, and I said, look, let's call it beyond the surface, hurt and healing, because you have to look beyond the surface if you're hurting to heal. If you're hurting, you must look beyond superficialness to heal. There have been mothers who've watched their son under a car trying to fix it, and the jack falls, and they grab the car, and the son moves from under it. Now, the woman was not strong enough to hold the car. That's what I mean by you're never alone. But you will never understand what I just said if you don't look at it deeply. You will never understand what Jackie just said about her father passing and how she learned how to let go unless you look at it deeply. We're so used to opening a book, pushing a button, putting something in a microwave to understand why we are like we are. It's not that easy.
And to tap on what Mom just said, honestly, before, a couple years back, yes, it was considered a wall. and it was a defensive mechanism, but I'm not fighting anything anymore. So the thing that it's just, to me, is the protection of my energy, and there's no wall there. It's just natural. It's kind of like, all right, my mom's calling. All right, I'm gonna pick up because she's my mom. Hey, da 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 da. She's going off and she's on the wrong frequency. I'm like, hey, mom, with all due respect, right? I'll speak to you later. You know, I just change what it is because I feel so much that when certain people call me, I can take on their actual energy. And that end up hurting me. So I've gotten to the point where I'm listening, but I'm not absorbing what they're saying. Because I've absorbed too much over the time, and I've been like, you know, like, and I saw what it costs. Like, your friend could call, you could be having the happiest time, and then out of nowhere, you just take on their energy, and now they're happy, and you're sitting here unhappy.
Did Tony want to say something? I thought I heard Tony.
Yeah, like, I just wanted to respond to a portion of what was said about someone being on a different frequency, and so I've had several conversations with Jermaine where I would call him, you know, in a state of, I guess, self-pity. and and that's my best friend. Like, I love Jermaine. Like, I will never, ever, ever say anything bad about Jermaine because he's been through so much. And he's been there like no one else. And so what I've noticed is, like, I would call sometimes and I'm low energy, and he would be like, what's the energy, queen? Like, why you calling? Why you sound like that? And I would be like, well, such and such happened, and this is why, now it's how I feel. And by the end of the conversation, I would feel better. But I would then notice also that he would kind of just like shut down and not really, express himself back to me whenever he goes through stuff. And I always thought about that, like, well, I don't know why that is, but it's like when he just expressed the way that he like deals with his mom, like, so I'm not gonna talk about him like he's not here, sorry.
Go ahead, I'm listening.
When you just expressed how you deal with your mom, if she'd call and she'd be on the wrong frequency, that's the word you use to describe it, that was a trigger for me, because at that point I said, what is wrong? What is correct? What is right? And so it was like, I wanted to ask you why you see it as wrong, because I know there are plenty of times when I call you and I'm sad or just seeking someone to listen to me, and you've embraced that, but it seems as though there's not that same.
Excellent.
I don't know, maybe.
I got you.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Let me get some snacks. I'm gonna get
No. I got you. I
just want to like clarify real quick, like what I'm saying.
I get it.
I just want to. I didn't. Oh, okay.
I hear what you're saying, and before I forget, I want to answer. I'm sorry. Like I've explained earlier, every family has turmoil, right? I know I have one mom, and I love her to death. Like, you can't do nothing to my mom around me. And I feel like I mimic my mom sometimes. But I have a different philosophy. And through experience, the relationship wasn't the greatest in the beginning. And mom asked earlier, what are we doing as parents? I feel certain parents tend to focus on them versus listening. We hear people speak, but we don't listen, right? And that was the circumstances with me and my mom. I remember younger situations where I would walk around with her and we would have temporary happiness. But as I got older, it's like I've always pretty much endured the negative aspect of her. Some of our parents tend to, I'm the mom, whatever I say goes. For me, it's only so much you can actually show me before I start actually believing that's who you really are. 2 years ago, our relationship was not the greatest. I would isolate myself. I would never bring my children's around. I feel energy. So whenever I come around, it's like walking into the house or within her presence, it will always feel hot. It's like I can feel the negative energy within the air, right? And to a certain extent, there wasn't any upliftment. I've broken down on plenty of occasions. I'm like, why are you like this? Open up. And then you get the, I don't cry over spilled milk, or you go through circumstances where this whole time you knew your father, right? You could have started a relationship with your dad, but you found out later that he died because he was a cop and somebody set him up. And to hear your mom say, yo, he never wanted you, knowing you knew this person, I could have attempted to have a relationship myself. And then when he died, in turn, she comes and said, I don't cry over spilled milk. He never wants you. Do you know what that does to a child? To look at your kid as if your kid owes you anything, that does a lot to your child. So years back, I never wanted to be around her. I never wanted to interact with her. It's like I hear her voice and I get this cringe. Like there would be this thing within my stomach, this hollow feeling, and my heart just started beating and chirping differently. Like whenever I would hear her voice, I don't know if it's fear or what it was, or disdain. I don't know what it was. Dealing with my little brother, we have been through so much and we have spoken so much together that we started healing each other. And he's like, you know what? Regardless of anything, you gotta chop it up with mom more. So the more I see her within my mind as a great person, it started to manifest within the realms of reality. So the way I wanted to see her, I started picturing in my head. And then slowly she started to change. I know we started to talk more. That feeling within my stomach is no longer. I am no longer hurting. I'm no longer bottling up things. So for me, I was too attached to the hurting versus the actual healing. And that's what it is. It's not because I don't love her. I don't want to tap into her frequency, but you have to protect your energy. And that's what it is for me. You know, some people will know that somebody hurt them and still pick up the call. You know, some people will know a music make them feel a certain way and they'll still listen to it. Some people will be like, knowing alcohol get them sick and still drink. But on the surface level, they complain to you about the liquor store.
Yeah, you know, and I say, and Jackie told us about her son. What makes a woman, after going through a painful birth, want to have another baby? See, this hurt thing is so deep. It's so psychological and spiritual. We must look at it deeply, because when I got over my depression and being suicidal, I promised the universe, I dedicated the rest of my life to helping it. There's not a day go by that I talk to somebody who's depressed or hurting, because you must look at this deeply. And when you grieve over a death or somebody that's lost, you can't grieve. Jackie can't feel that that hurt from her father passing unless they had a deep relationship. It's so deep that we must look at ourselves deeply instead of superficially. This must start at a very young age, because dying is a part of living. And we can love. And you ever see two people that love each other and they want to be together, then one person shadows the other person image of them and they hate them now. See, you can separate physically, but psychologically you're still there. So
Very true.
Oh man, that's why I'm laughing, because that's a fact.
We must learn. That's the point I'm trying to make. That's the point I'm making. We must learn to say what we mean and mean what we say, psychologically acting. It's easy to say, oh, F you and walk out the door, but psychologically you're still there.
Yeah, because you don't fix nothing when you do that. It's like you're running away from it, but the problem is still within your face. And if you don't take charge and accountability and assess the situation or try to correct it,
yes,
you see what I'm saying? Like, regardless of how I felt when I dealt with my mom, I started calling her so to heal myself from all of that, because deep down she's great. You know, we may not agree on a lot of things, but at the end of the day, she was the vessel that carried me. And she, you know what I mean? She spat me out. I may not have been here. So I have to have some form of respect and know her value, even at certain time, if she don't know her value herself.
But you know, I've met people all over the world doing music and deep people, great artists and all of this. But the three people that I'm talking to on the platform now is some deep spiritual people. Jackie, Tony, and Jermaine. You guys knew each other before I came on the scene. But just the little time that I've known you, this is a powerful thing. It's beyond power. You guys are in touch with the untouchable and have been touched by the untouchable. And what that means is, this is what we need. This is what we've lost as Black people. Because superficialness never solved anything. Superficialness causes hurt. You see my pretty car, you see the rims, then somebody crashes into it and you want to kill them. You know, people are not born crazy. People are not, I mean, there are birth defects in that, but I'm talking, people are not born disrespectful and unrighteous and want to kill people and you say hello to them and they give you this mean face. And when I go into the hood and I try to talk to people, they show you this mean face like that's going to change something. That's not going to change anything. But we've lost what Tony and Jackie and Jermaine has. We must have deep relationships, because nobody's born, you know, a problem. Hurt creates that. Hurt creates that.
With that concept though, Rich, with the concept, the question I'm going to ask, right? How do you recognize when you're hurt? Because through depression, we have spoke about this, people function well in depression.
Yes.
So if you're unaware that you're hurt, how can you heal?
Well, it's kind of like with diet, you know, it's the same type of thing. It's about preventing getting sick. It's about preventing getting hurt. Now, I'm not saying that there's some formula that you're okay, I'm never going to be hurt again in life, but enter over and understand what causes somebody to hurt. What causes somebody to hurt is we create this image. We create this whole thing of how we think it should be. And then when it's going good, we create this thing that, oh, it's never going to end. And when it ends, and then we, it's like, I mean, I've met women who the last man that they had hurt them and they take it out on me. I'm not that guy. But this is what I mean. Hurt makes us an ugly person. If we don't get over it, if we don't learn how to let go, hurt will destroy you.
Hey, we all are that guy, because that one guy that hurt that one female, now every man is problematic. Ladies,
problematic. But to answer your question, Jermaine, I think we should go into something and not have an image of it. Try to look at something and enjoy something without taking a picture, without just enjoy the sunrise or the flower without trying to hold on to it. Smell it, walk by, and keep evolving. Or if you meet somebody, I'm not saying get rid of people and walk away, but don't have this image of how it's supposed to be.
Ladies, can y'all help me out with that depiction? Like, why a female would go in a relationship with a particular man, and a particular man hurt her? I know she come out and a pass for that hurt on the next man, are the entire generation of man. Ha.
I don't know. This one I can't speak from experience because
Tony, talk to me.
I can't speak from experience on this one, but to answer your question, original question is sometimes people don't know they're in a bad place. Sometimes you don't know how depressed you are until something wakes you up to that. Like maybe something someone said, maybe something you've seen, but a light must go on in your head to make you come to the realization that I'm messed up. I need help. I need to grab hold of this. So it has to be an awareness that takes place first, because remember, there's a saying, you can't help those that don't want help. You can lead the horse to water, but you can't make them drink. It's like that. There must be some sort of an awakening moment for you to realize how messed up you are, that you need help.
And I applaud that, because
Tony?
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Tony.
What's that?
What?
Is my mic on?
What? You're asleep?
No, I'm not. I didn't know if you had said something to me.
You're distracted. Get off your phone.
I'm not on my phone. I mean, I'm on my phone with this live, but I'm not on my phone.
Mommy deflected from it because she said she haven't experienced that, right? So I'm gonna go back to her original question. How do you heal when you're unaware that you're hurting?
Am I there? Hello?
I can hear you loud as
Hello?
clear. Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. How do you heal when you're unaware? I don't think you can if you're unaware. Yeah, you have to first be aware that you're hurting in order to heal. Oh, yeah, I don't think you can.
Also said to Rich that you can function very well in depression. You can go to work, you can eat, you can run a household, you can do all that stuff and be depressed. Mom also indicate that unless a light go off within you or somebody exposes your circumstances, I've known you to have gone through situations. So to make this personal to you, how have you overcome what you've been through?
I'm a beautiful mess, a beautifully organized mess, a beautifully organized, disorganized, shiny, and ooh, grab it type of mess. I think the beauty in the fact that I can say that confidently is that I realize that broken crayons still color. And so I don't run away from the pain. I don't run away from it. And when I'm confronted by someone who tells me, hey, you hurt me, I take a moment and self-reflect. And so when it comes to my experience, my path, my path, um, I went through it. I just, when I felt like crying, I cried. When I felt like laughing, I laughed. And when it was time to sit in it, I sat in it. And when it was time to leave, I left. And every day, literally every day, I am improving on myself. Um, so it's a journey, and everyone's journey is different. And I think that the more we take time to introspect, the more we better ourselves, because a lot of the times some would say as a cure all for a relationship that fails, just keep yourself busy, or jump into another one. And it's like, I don't know if that might work, because what you're doing is you're like the dung beetle. You're just rolling all that shit into a big ass ball. That's all you're doing. And excuse me, sorry, mom. Um, and so I think in this case, I had to stop. I had to stop rolling that big dung ball and just say, enough is enough. I'm going to just be here in the moment. I'm going to be present, and I'm going to introspect, just reflect on who is Tony, what does Tony want, what does Tony want to do. And in the process of doing that, if I if I find someone as potential mate, then great. But if not, that's great too. I think a lot of the times, in terms of like relationships, to your question, and as to why women carry the hurt from past relationships into the present, of course they sometimes know that they're doing it, sometimes they don't. Most of the time they don't. But I think a lot of what we ignore in that uh, statement, or question rather, is why do we have to be in relationships? Why do we have to be yoked up with someone? Why can't we just be okay with ourselves? And that's kind of the point that I'm taking into 2020. It's like, I don't have to be married. I don't have to have a partner. I don't have to have children. I can be fine just with myself. And I think that's the gift that I'm giving myself this year, by being okay with just being by myself and with myself. And that in and of itself is potentially the answer to the potential problem of bringing past pain into a present relationship. Being okay with being with yourself, with your thoughts, and just introspect. I think I said a lot, but yeah.
But I think Tony hit it right on the head when she said a lot of women don't realize a lot of things they're doing have hurt from the previous relationship. Because depression, a lot of people, I mean, a lot of people can laugh, but the heart can cry. A lot of people, uh, they they fill themselves with activity, not knowing that it's a depression. They can't be still because they don't want to face themselves. So they're at the club. They're over here. They're at dinner. They're at club. They can't be still. And then come the twilight hour, 12 o'clock, it hits them. 12 midnight. I gotta go to bed. I gotta face this. And it's it's a thing that depression is a master of disguise. So it's a master of escapes. And what makes depression so elusive and so hard to figure out and get rid of is because somebody can be very creative in depression also. Some of the best songs and paintings have been sung and created by an artist who was depressed. But you must see the danger of depression is when you try to create an image of something, when you try to build an image, when you try to live up to an image, when you try to believe an image. It's an illusion. An image isn't real. So if you want to have the image to be in a nice car, dress nice, you're setting yourself up for depression. You're setting yourself up for hurt. Because one day those clothes and car is not going to be there. Or somebody may walk up to you and be like, hey, you look like a clown. So the image, we have to keep away from trying to create an image of something and let life evolve, not try to control it. Life comes to us. We don't need to control it. It's like I said, Jackie didn't say, let's make Tony now. Life came to her. And then when we get here, we want to control everything. And we wonder why we hurt and depressed.
Oh yeah, she did. she was trying to get busy. I'm sorry.
but Tony just made.
Wow.
But hey, check out. I'm sorry to butt in on this, but Tony just said a deep thing. We're just trying to have some pleasure and have fun, and the universe creates this beautiful child out of it.
Not for nothing. I had a conversation with my ex, I won't say who, and he had said, my child came through my thought. And I was like, wait, what? And he was like, well, it wasn't the act that created her. It was my thought that created her. And I swear to you, Rich, every time I hear you speak, that conversation comes to mind because you put emphasis on thought, and he had said that in that way. And it would be so dope if you and he could have a conversation about that. I don't know where he is, what he's doing, or anything like that. But I'm just saying it would have been a dope conversation because the way he worded it was
that was like, I want this, and then no, I can't have it. Let me get it back. Like, wait.
Did I just take you through a journey there? I'm sorry, I didn't.
No, you just no. It's kind of like somebody that's wishing for something, and then they shot it down. They shot their wish. I'm like, I wish you could speak to him. I don't know where he's at though. It's like,
yeah, I know. I mean, yeah, but I just want to say this and I'll finish. I promise. It was really just the way that he had worded it. He said he was young and he was talking to his friend and he was like, I'm gonna have a child. I'm gonna have a daughter and I'm gonna name her this, and she's gonna be this, and she's gonna be this, and she's gonna be this. And like, it was interesting to see how, when he did talk about it, how his face lit up. Like, I thought that I was going to be a dad and I was going to have a child exactly like this. This was going to be the name, all of this. And then literally that came to pass. And so it's like, it's pretty dope when we think about it, like how you can like manifest reality through thoughts. And how I know for me, I said, I'm going to be successful regardless of what. I'm going to be successful. And I had to define success. And to me, success was self-sufficient, just self-sufficient. And I didn't define it any further. And that was my mistake. Because once I became self-sufficient, I realized, wow, I'm not really happy with that by itself. And so all these other things started happening where I started to try to find that happiness. And yeah, it started with a thought. And so, yeah.
Can I expound upon that? My process of healing went through manifestation, because I have a mind where, and this is just me, maybe I'm praising myself too much, but I feel like I'm a great manifester, because I sit in my mind a lot and I paint these pictures, and I can relate to what you said pertaining to him actually say his daughter's going to have this and whatever, because when the difference between me is I did it in the midst of actually intercourse, having sex. I pictured how my son was going to be an exact mirror of me. And the difference was I want him to be opposite of me, right? It is funny. The mom actually thought of the name. She's like, this child is going to be the embodiment of love. So we named our son, the first one, Jitem, right? If you meet my child and have a conversation with him, from the tooth to the nail to every single thing, you be like, yo, dude. In Jamaica, we be like, yo, my youth, if you ever try to hide that one day, I go to jail, because that's living you. That's the living me. And I thought of him before he actually was manifested. So yeah, everything you see, you might look at as a coincidence, but you're creating that. You're the creator. That's why I keep saying people are creator, because you're creating your own experience. And you don't believe that? Hey, challenge yourself. Wake up and say, you know what? I'm gonna get a bill every single day, and watch your mailbox become flooded with bills. People keep getting up, talk about why my life ain't this, or why do I keep going through this, and why do I keep going through that? And when they're speaking, not understanding their true brain is actually putting the emotion into that to make it real. So everywhere they go, they're miserable. They bitch about everything. They walk outside, they buck their toe, they blame somebody else. Whatever. We create our own experiences. Nobody else can create that for us. The happiness that we want, we have to create it. And I believe that because I've seen those manifestations. I've seen those change firsthand in my life. You said something to me before. I think it was the first time when you came to Georgia, Tony. You asked the question. You said, why are you so determined?
The lies you tell. I never say that.
You never said that?
Mommy, you hear this?
You never said
You hear
that?
this?
Wait,
I
time out,
never
time
say
out,
that.
Time out.
Yeah. I hearing
on.
the Trinity talk coming out. I'm hearing it.
Yeah,
Hold on. So
I never
Go
say
ahead, keep
wait,
it
I'm
going.
finish.
Keep it going. I got
So
snacks.
it wasn't you sitting on the car outside of my house, right? Staring at the stars together, right? Mentioning that.
That sounds romantic though, but I don't remember that. What are you talking about?
Why must it be
Because
romantic?
you said sitting on the. You said you were sitting on the top of the car,
yeah,
staring at the. When was this?
All right. Did you come to Georgia? The first time you came to Georgia, when?
Oh, when, you mean when I visited like years and years ago?
Oh, so
that was like forever ago though. Like,
but I'm lying though, right? So that means your brain don't work correctly.
No. So wait. But I did not ask you why are you so determined. I did not ask you.
If you don't,
that's a dumb question. That don't even sound like something I would ask.
if you don't remember, how are you gonna tell me the details of what?
No, because what I'm saying is I would not have said that. Like that don't sound like something I would say.
I'm not giving the exact details that follow why you asked that, but that was something you said to me.
Nah, bro.
Anyway, we're switching topics. I'm not gonna do this. And I know you guys are sitting back laughing your asses off. We're not gonna do this. Let's move. Let's move past it because I hate Ginka Biloba.
Hey, this is good. This is good. This is good.
Because let me tell you, this is the thing though. Like, you may be trying to give me because he knows. It does. That's why some people was on a car staring at the stars. I don't know if that was reality or you was dreaming. I don't know what that was.
All right, you know what?
I can hear violence, Tony. I can hear violence.
Wait. You know what? Are you gonna?
And then hold on, real quick. Let me say this real quick. And so you said it was years ago, many moons ago. So then it started to come to me. Oh, right. You mean that time when I came to visit and we was chilling outside the house and you were telling me stuff.
Rich, and you're hearing the conversation that time. She ain't saying what time, She said that time.
But it was that time because mommy, it was a different, it was a
Wow.
different place. It was a different time. So,
Wow. Rich,
but
I'm
when he
lying,
said
Rich.
just now, he said like it was just the other day. So I said, wait.
Wow.
what kind of how you remember
Wow.
things and I don't remember. What?
Hey, hey, I remember situations with me and my mom at the age of 6. I have a great memory. Rich, I
If I
was
could
lying.
strip any
Rich, I was
harder.
lying. Rich, I was lying, right?
Hey,
Wow.
you know, you
Mommy,
said
let me borrow some juice so I could strip longer.
Yo, the nerves. The nerves of you. You
Damn.
lie. You lying. The nerves
Nah,
Damn.
of
cause
you.
at first it was
Wow.
like, wait, what is he talking about? Like, wait, what did
Wow.
he? We were looking at the
Yo,
stars. Like,
yo,
what? It's
if
not
you don't,
romantic.
if you don't say it, I'm gonna say it. So yeah, we looking at the stars. That was romantic.
I don't know what you talking about, but go
Okay.
ahead. You were saying.
Okay, Tony. You got it. I'm done. You got it. You got it.
Saying.
That's right, Tania. Deny.
Yo.
See, and then there's that.
Yo, who name so
Lord
20.
have
Well,
mercy. Be with us at the dying be with us at the dying hour. Father, I come to you humbly as your daughter. You know, I usually do not do this, but you said vengeance is mine, right? But they lying on me, God. They lying on me.
Oh,
You
Jermaine.
know,
She going to a higher
you
power.
know.
Oh my God.
Jermaine. Your response should be, I call upon the powers that be to bring to me what I ask of thee. By earth, by air, by fire or sea, and as I will, so mote it be. That's your response.
Oh my God, I love it. Yo, Ma, I love it. Tony. Yeah.
I
But
got
it's
it.
just go ahead, Rich, because it's just so funny how the plane actually falls into the category of what the topic is. But go ahead, I'm listening.
But Jermaine, you had to say that for a reason.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. I'm trying to forget it.
Go ahead.
Said what
No,
for a
because we
reason?
trying to figure out the watching of the stars. Like I said, I'm hearing violence. Like, what's going on?
Greetings. Hey, Tony, they've been setting me up even before the live start. I'm gonna stay on code.
Tony needs to have a conversation with Mama after. Fill in the blanks.
Yes.
Nah, I don't know. Like I just know that like I am flabbergasted. I am completely caught off guard. And honestly, I think I'm gonna write a letter to your boss because this is unacceptable.
What? Anyway, yeah, hurting and healing.
Yes.
I went through my fair share. To be honest, for like 2 years, I was going around hating women. Not that I don't love them. When I say hating women, is because I was hurt by a woman. So it's more so for the ride versus my heart actually being into it. And my form of punishment was through sex. Like, you're gonna feel me through sex, but there was no attachment whatsoever. It's like straight bubble gum. And I noticed that was not the right that was not the right path.
Now, what if Tony was saying this, Jermaine?
I'm speaking my truth. What kind of question was that? I'm talking about me. Wait, what? Yeah, Tony, what?
No, go ahead.
I
My
don't
bad.
know.
I'm sorry.
If I was saying that I was hurt and I was just like Saying what exactly? Say if Tony was saying what exactly? Like
What if
all of what he said?
what if Tony was saying, I was hurt and I was dating these guys and they were buying me all these things and then help me forget about other people?
Mm-hmm. And I just used them.
No, I go ahead, Jermaine. I had a
Rich.
I don't want to go no further
Rich,
with
you
that.
and I haven't chopped it up in a while. What you talking about, Rich? What you talking about?
So basically, like he was saying, like what if the roles are reversed? Like when men speak of the way that women actually hurt them, how do we view the other way? Like when woman is the one actually speaking out on being hurt? Is that what you were trying to say or get to?
No, it was my own fault. Cause see, before Tony came on, I was telling you and Jackie that when I first started doing this online thing, I started with Tony. I seen Tony online, and she was talking to her mother, and I was like, "Hey, you know what? I like this." And Jackie was saying some beautiful things. Now, as this thing evolved and evolving, and Tony can remember this. I hope she remember this. No, I think I was telling you, Jermaine. I said, "Look, Jermaine, you and Tony has a chemistry. I don't know the history. So I'm saying you and Tony have a chemistry. And I didn't know any of the history till I started to get to know you more, Jermaine. And I said, you have a chemistry and I can see it. I can feel it. And if I can, the public can also.
Feel what? What?
I'm saying that, look, I'm in entertainment music. Look, I used to be an A&R man. I know talent. I know visual. I know this thing. I know you and Tony have good chemistry.
Wow. I just met you too. That's dope.
Yeah, I know. We just met each other. So I'm not gonna go any further.
Tony, that's dope. I just met you the other day. We got good chemistry.
Oh, the chemistry is off the charts, visually and even when you're just talking when nobody can see you. And I think something. I don't think it's over. I think something needs to happen now.
What?
Yes, I think in business, maybe in business or something.
What?
Something is something I'm saying is something is unresolved. It's something. I think you guys need to do a business together. You need to do something together because something to me is unresolved. The chemistry is too good.
Wait, them two added individuals, me and she.
Yes.
Yo, we're too opinionated and she not listen. She not listen and me not listen. So,
but see, this back to the topic that we're on. If you look at this beyond the surface, you will see a more beautiful thing.
Hey man, stop trying to repel her future boyfriends and husbands.
Hey,
that have a crush on her.
I'm not. Hey, that's their fault.
You get your KFC yet, Tony?
Excuse me?
You got your KFC yet?
What are you talking about? Oh, from the guy. Yeah. So there was a guy in the comment section in my lives that I didn't see. Apparently, that every comment every time he commented, he would say, "What would he say? That I love you. I want to buy you KFC." I would make you so happy if you choose me. I will buy you KFC. I was like, wait, what? I never seen it though. He brought it to my attention.
Tony got fans,
and then he
man.
just disappeared. And I'm like, oh man, I want the KFC guy to come back. He just disappeared.
Oh my god!
Wow, and that's the only thing missing in your life, right, Tony?
Oh man,
I don't even eat meat, so I don't know. But
I mean, what was he thinking? Like, hey, this beautiful girl, Tony, I can have her. Hey, I give you a 2-piece and a biscuit.
Yo,
2-piece and a biscuit.
Oh man,
Lord, the only thing from KFC that I could I don't even know what the menu looked like, but I could probably have. I can't even have the mash if they have mashed potatoes because it's not really potatoes. I don't know. That's just funny to me. That was just cute.
I don't know. That is KFC.
Yo, the man say, yo, can I buy some KFC? I'll make it become a wife. I'm trying to think like, yo, is it that easy? I'm like, yo, let me go get somebody some KFC and see what happened. But anyway, Ma, you had something you wanted to say? Because we done come off course, long time.
Absolutely not. I'm just listening.
Well, look, you got to chalk that up. If Tony got fans, you know that. You know, and you got fans too, Jermaine.
I don't know. I'm infamous. I'm not famous.
Oh no, but you guys can't help. You'd be surprised at the people that's into you guys. You're online all the time, and these people, a lot of people don't want to talk like go live, but they like to be in the box and, comment. But I know for a fact you and Tony has fans just by some of these comments, and I'm sure you guys' inboxes are full with all kind of stuff.
Oh, I get cussed out all the time.
No, I wouldn't say I have fans. I say I have, people who like to join my live.
So how would you explain this guy? How would you explain this guy with the 2 piece and the biscuit? That's a fan.
If he was a fan, he would still be around, though.
Oh man, this is funny. I had to put this up. Oh man.
He's not around anymore, though. He said, I want some KFC now. Don't do it. That clone chicken will have you dead by 30. Don't do it.
Oh, man. But
don't do it. That clone chicken is no good.
To stay on topic, that's also another way we can heal is through laughter and through relationship and connections with others. We are not our problems. And we miss that within the process of healing. We think we're our problems. So with that being said, we also punish ourselves thinking we're not deserving. Like, we're not deserving of a smile. We're not deserved to be happy and so on and so forth. But it starts with a smile.
Yes, it does. And that's positive. I always say positive energy. Nothing's better than laughter. But this depression thing, this hurt thing, you have to look beyond the surface. It's like, I hate to keep pounding the hurt word, but I want people to get the message. You must look at this deeply, because I don't care if you're white, black, Asian, Arabic, Jewish, everybody gets hurt. But they think it's their hurt. Everybody gets hurt. It's not your hurt. Hurt is hurt. Now, if you can do something to help somebody and they're hurting, because I don't let a day go by without trying to talk to somebody who's hurting. And the reason why I say that is because I know for a fact that if you see anybody depressed, if you see even a murderer, it stems from a hurt somewhere. See, hurt turns you into a monster if you don't deal with it correctly. This hurting is a serious thing that must be deeply observed seriously, because this hurt, the things that people hide the most besides money is hurt. And they hide it in so many ways. And you wonder why you can't get along with this person. Or if you ever meet a person that's so snappy and always debatable, they're fault finding, they want to debate everything. These people are hurting. Deep down inside, they're not dealing with that hurt correctly. And it is a depression. It's a form of depression, because that's what's wrong with the black people in the ghetto. Everybody is hurting and unhappy. And it's by design. But, picture slavery. When they set us free, we was nothing. We was treated like cattle. They set us free to nothing, but we made something out of nothing. We've lost touch with that. That's what I mean by the ancestors speak to us. I'm sure that Jackie's father still speaks to her, but you have to know the difference between the voice of your thought and the voice of your father that's passed. See, you're never alone. That's what my book is about. That's what my book is about. Knowing the difference between the voice of your thought and the voice of your ancestor, and that person is never alone. There is no way Jackie and her father could be that close, and then it's just all over. No way. Physically, he's gone, but he will never be gone in her spirit and being, in the voice of her heart. But we have to get back in touch with that. That's why I don't pray, I meditate, because in meditation, I hear some of my ancestors way back, way back. I know that sounds out there, but I see meditation in nature more of a reality than society.
Sounds out there to the person that's not actually tuned in to your frequency. Hey Mike, I'm gonna add you to the live. Come in. I'm gonna send you the link. All right. Mom, you have something you wanted to add?
Sorry.
No. Rich, he said a mouthful. I I can relate to what he's saying.
Oh, your father is never gone. I mean, picture this. Picture Jackie is a loving mother, like any other great black mother. They used to ride by on the porch and take your son and lynch him in front of you, and you still got to get up into the cotton field tomorrow morning and don't miss a step. How do you think we got through that? Because we was in touch with the voice that never died. Physically, they're gone.
Interesting. But that goes back to my
Yeah, but I talking about grief, talking about pain, hurt, and whatnot. I don't know if it ever totally goes away. I think it's a continued process in the sense that you learn to live with it. You learn to accept it and live with it. I don't know if in my head I can uh reconcile with his death really, but I've learned to accept it and live with it to the extent that like I said, I'm in a better place for it. I've conformed to the idea that he's not here, in the physical, but in the spiritual he is. And I have instances where I know he's there. I can smell him. I can feel him. His bright vibration, that warmth I used to feel when he was alive, in this plane, I feel that at times. So I know it's him. But what I'm trying to say is pain and depression and grief, all these things is things in life we learn to live with. We just have to find a place in our life for it that we can function with it. And
Well,
that's the big that's a big, big issue for some people. They don't know how to really put it in its place and live with it.
let me say this, Jackie. See, when somebody is hurting and grieving over something very deep, you can get rid of it, but you have to get just as deep. And what does that mean? That means that, see, when somebody is holding on, and that means you're hurt. You can't be hurt without being attached and holding on. Once you enter over and understand that that thing is gone, it leaves. What I mean by leaving is that hurt is a static thing. It's like looking at a picture and embracing the picture every time you come home. The picture is not alive. But to that person who's depressed, it's alive. It's an illusion. It's an image. But once you see that hurt is a static thing and you let go, you see that order in life is a moving thing. Something that's static is in the way of something that's moving. So you can go home and look at the picture without crying anymore. I'm not saying don't grieve over a death and
Right.
don't have no feelings. I'm not saying that. I'm saying understand that things blossom and wither away. But holding on to that is make yourself static. And you can't move on in life. Your face will change. Your demeanor will change. That's why people that's hurt, they're snappy people. Life is a moving thing. Life is for the living. But if you hold on to a death too long, you become static, you die with it. You can't die with it in a physical sense. You understand the death, and you communicate in another form. It's like a baby communicates underwater with the mother. And then when the water breaks, he dies to living in water and communicates in a physical form. And death is like getting out of one car into another. But the communication is still there, but it's a different communication. We've lost touch of that because we learn how to. Society teaches us how to be self-centered, and time is everything. I got to be on time for work. I got to be on time for this. I have to be on time for that. How can you be sensitive to the universe and your ancestors if you're worried about pleasing the boss and pleasing somebody with a car and superficial things? Life is deeper than that. And you won't see this deepness in life unless you look into it deeply. Hurt is a static thing, but it is a reality. Everybody is affected by the sting of death. You're not human if you don't cry. You're not human if you don't grieve. You're not human if you don't do it. But to hold on to this year after year, that means it's controlling you. It's like fear. We can't get rid of fear. But we must understand that fear wants to possess us. You can't get rid of fear. You just can't let fear control you.
Greetings, King. What's up, Mike? Welcome.
What's good? What's good? How you doing, man?
Greetings.
Yeah. How you doing? Greetings, kings and queens. Oh, sorry, I just woke up and I talked to my daughter. Hey. I want some KFC too. You know what I'm saying? That sounds pretty good right now. Like I hopped up on the live. I said, "Oh, Black boy wants some KFC too." Now, hey, look.
You know what? Tony gonna have KFC at her door. Piled
Oh
up.
no,
Yo,
Tony had a look.
Yeah, catch a bullet for that one. Don't go at the door there.
Yeah.
Everyone, this
I'm
is
good.
actually my cousin. I can let you can go ahead and share a little piece of your story. He too have actually suffered through depression and so on and so forth. Go ahead, King.
Yeah, we I hopped up on the live because me and my cousin just did a live earlier, and I've suffered through a lot of depression and because of the root source of my mother and my father's relationship. So the roles of a man and a woman was switched for me, and I grew up resenting that in my life with women. And the one thing I caught when I first got on, I caught what he was talking about, how he used to hate women, and it was like bubblegum. And the crazy thing is, now I can tell we family because I did the same thing. I was like, yo, I swore up and down. I was like, you know what? I don't want no more black women. I'm gonna give me a white woman because black women seem to do this and seem to do that. But the bad part about it is, no, listen to me. The bad part about it is, it wasn't. It was out of a hurt place. It was out of a hurt place because my mother's a black woman. So, you know, I was looking towards the black woman like, I love you so much, but why are you hurting me? So I resonated with hurt with every black woman because of my mother. So every black woman that did me wrong, it was not their fault. It was the past hurt that I held against my own mother. So it's just like I'm looking at this black woman, you know, not knowing intentionally she's hurting me. So when I got into relationships, I never even been with a white woman. So me saying that, of course, was absurd. You know, and there's nothing wrong with white women, but hey, I prefer my ebony goddesses. You know, that's cool. But it was just like I was coming from a hurt place. And the question that I wanted to ask was, are we jealous of each other's pain? Are we resentful are men and women in a battle against each other? Because this is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing like, if a man says, you know, I hate a woman because of my hurt and I used to do all this and all that, I've seen, off of my own opinion, they get trashed for it. When a woman says, well, I used to do this because I was hurt, you know how much support she gets? off of my own opinion, and then I'll go to the other side and I'll see women that say, you know, I did this because I was hurt. They get trashed for it. And then I'll see they like a man will get so much praise and so much, oh, it's okay, it's okay. So then that goes to resentment to each other off of my opinion. It's just like I see men and women battling each other instead of, especially the black community. We battle each other instead of coming to form one union as a whole body home.
I want to stay on your question. So, are we jealous of each other's pain? That was a very deep question. Who want to take that? I don't have the answer for that one.
I definitely do. Shout out to all my brothers that stick by us women. We love y'all. I'll just start by saying that. No spoil zone. Anyway, I'm just saying, when it comes to being jealous of each other's pain, I think that, excuse me, the psychology of that, yes, we can absolutely be jealous of each other's pain. And here's the reason why, because the psychology of the typical black man, black woman in America is that if you are able to withstand pain, you are strong. And it's actually encouraged upon our men to withstand pain. We don't see their humanity. We see them as being buff and masculine and brute. And so if they are in pain, all of these things speak against that. I mean, everything that I said before about a man being strong and brute and everything else, if he shows any sign of feeling pain, we equate that to weakness, right? And that's as far as the man is concerned. But when you see a woman now being strong and trying to play the role of the father if the father left the household, she is seen as superwoman, supermom. And so another woman now who is here and she don't have that situation, she'll look at that woman who's supermom and actually be jealous of. She's able to be supermom, and what she's really jealous of is her pain, because nobody wants to be a supermom. Nobody wants to be struggling and hiding their tears, and they can't show anyone because they think it shows weakness. That's one aspect that I think of in terms of being jealous of someone's pain. I think it's more so you pain as, like I said, as some badge of honor to show that you're strong enough to withstand it, basically. The other aspect of it is that, right, it's like a kind of a twisted mentality to say that this is a badge of honor. Look at what I've been through and I'm still here, you know, and in that respect, it's like you're trauma bonding. You're saying my pain and your pain makes us connect to each other, but because, you know, I mean, I don't know. I think I don't even think it's, I understand what you're saying, but I don't think it's so much that you're jealous of someone's pain. I think it's you're jealous of the fact that they're so strong enough to withstand it. That's what I think.
Exactly. And you know what? You know what I can say about that as well? It's not only men and women. It's unbeknownst to other people out there watching this. It's the human race. I get a lot of people that fight against me. They were like, oh, because I tell people, I'll be like, look, how can I tell people sometimes I'm very disappointed in my fellow black people because I get labeled as not black enough, and then the white people, I am too black. So it's just like I see people. It's and like in society, it's just like when they see somebody doing something, like, all right, put it to you this way: when black people see other cultures, or especially white people, they see them doing something that we do. They're like, oh, you're a culture vulture, this and the third. But it's honestly, they're looking at it like, wow. When we do something, like I'm gonna paraphrase it. I seen someone be at awe with me bringing leftovers to school one day, or making a meal out of ramen noodles. You know how many people was in awe because I turned my hurt or what my struggle as being poor into what I've turned oodles and noodles into a gourmet meal, and people were in awe. They're like, "How are you, surviving and you're dirt poor? How did you turn your pain into a come up?" You know what I'm saying? A lot of people will look at me like, "Yo, how's that possible?" Like, and it goes into the aspect of jealousy. It's like there's a lot of people saying, "Oh, you're poor, but you're still happy. You're still smiling. Why? I don't get it." Just like Thanksgiving, what the main foods that we eat in Thanksgiving is collard greens, turkey, even chitlins. But they don't understand we were fed that stuff as slaves because that's the scraps that we were fed to eat. Pig intestines and all this to keep us to survive, but not have everything. And now that we turn it into a gourmet meal, you have people that hate us for it, and it's just like I don't get how do you hate me for something that was taken away from me, and I turn it into something bigger, And then even on IG, I talked to my girlfriend about this. I was like, we had a sit down. I was like, a lot of women go on IG to expose themselves sexually because that's all they're told they're acceptable for. And I wasn't getting it. I ain't gonna lie, I was really like jealous. I was like, how? Because if I go on there posting my pecs and my pectoral and showing my wood, oh, that's inappropriate. Spam him. But if a girl goes on there twerking her area, it gets praised. But I wasn't understanding because that's the mindset that was given. So I wasn't understanding that pain I was going through. So of course I was telling her, women get away with a lot more than men do, because a woman can do that was my personal opinion, because that's what I was seeing. I was seeing that if a woman does something, 9 times out of 10 she'll get away with it more than a man. But I wasn't viewing it from her perspective. She was like, yeah, but how many times can a man be with different women? But if I do it, then I'm labeled a hoe. So I feel like we as a community have battled each other too much instead of forming a union, because it goes back to slavery time where they took the black male out of the home so they could breed a female and a male, right? So one family would have a female, one family would have a male, and take the male out. So the family that has a male with no father, she teaches him to be bronze over brain, right? And then the one that has the female, they teach her to negotiate. So be, oh, this, that. So what they knew what they were doing. They were watering the roles of a man, and it's today's society as well. It's just like once they label people felons, so it's hard to get a job. So he feels like he has no choice because that's the mental change that's been put on him. Oh, I have no choice but to rob and steal because I'm not getting any opportunities. So the father's taken out of the home and replaced with WIC, replaced with food stamps, replaced with the government support, the government man. And it's just like we don't understand the hurt that's really being put inside the home, but we're sitting here saying we're sitting here being like envying each other's pain, not knowing what we had to do to get there. Because I've gone through so much with my daughter's mom that people are surprised that I still smile, and people envy me. I have a lot of women say certain things. Even a lot of men say to me, "Yo, like, you still forget your baby moms?" And I'm like, "Excuse me, my daughter's mom." Well, they're like, "I'm not gonna disrespect her because at the end of the day, she bore a child for me. She bared a child from her loins from me. We created that together." But I get so much hate even from opposite sides. Like I have women say to me like, "Oh, you're a deadbeat because you're not with your child," or and I have men saying, "Oh," talking bad on her part, and it's just like, no, it's not. It's neither of us' fault. It's past hurt and generational stuff going on, and I just want to get to the point where it's just like, when are we gonna start healing each other? When are we gonna start speaking life in each other? Like my cousin, I know he does that. He sends a text to me positive. He even posted on his page like, "Hey, I just want to congratulate and say I'm proud of all my black people, my black fathers and black mothers." And it's just like, it's rare to hear that. You have people be like, "What? You proud of me? You don't even know me." And it's just like, I may not know you, brother, but I know that as a black person, you go through so much. So That's
You good, bro?
one
I
thing.
understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. Like
Huh?
it's the I understand what you're saying when you say people being jealous of people's pain. I think it's like people are jealous of your tenacity and the fact that you're able to come through with
Mm,
all of the gems that you come through with, even being faced with all the adversity that you're faced with.
mm-hmm.
That's what I think people are jealous of. They're jealous of the fact that, you were being buried and they didn't know you were a seed. And that's really all it is. It's like, oh,
Mm,
he's still growing. It's because I'm a
mm,
seed. That's why. Thank you.
mm-hmm.
And you know what? I really don't think it's the fact that they're really jealous of your pain. It's more so that they can't
I
do
just
it
said
per se. They
that.
they cannot do that.
Mm.
That's
I've
what
heard
it
that
is.
as
It's
well.
they're more so jealous of the fact of themselves because it's kind of like, yo, if I'm hurt or whatever, right? I'm not gonna know how to love you because I'm hurt, right? And you somehow swept up out of that, and I'm still hurt within that.
Mm,
So it's more so the fact that they can't uplift themselves, and
mm,
you're walking around and it looks like a trigger. It's not more so you, it's more so
yeah.
them. Because I can
Mm,
say something to you and you take it the way it's intended to, but based on your perception, you might take it the next way. That's not my fault. That's on you.
mm. That's true.
And
Yeah.
you know
I
what?
get.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and Rich, I can tell you're a strong brother because this is what we're missing. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, Rich. You're
Mm,
feeling the problem. You're feeling the problem. You're seeing the problem. But when I talk to black people in the hood,
mm-hmm.
and I'm from the hood,
Mm,
and first of all, they must know it's by design for you to struggle. Life is a struggle anyway,
exactly.
but it's
Mm,
by design. See, you'll look at yourself differently if you see that you didn't start from the same starting point from everybody else. By
mm,
design, they got you behind the starting line and they want you to
mm,
finish with everybody else. Now, I'm not making excuses, but what I'm
mm-hmm.
saying is black people are very sane people. And if you
Mm-hmm.
and the proof of it is we was nothing but cattle in slavery. We was set free to go to nothing. They didn't say, here's your horse and buggy, here's your 30 acres, and here's your plow. And they just said, okay, you're free to go. Where are we going to go? We don't know nothing but service. But we
Right.
made something out of nothing
Right.
in a very short time. In a very short time. Now, fast forward to the day. You got these kids in the so-called ghetto, and black people is jealous of other black people. It's just jealousy is jealousy, whether you're jealous of somebody's dress or car or attitude.
Mm-hmm.
Jealousy is jealousy. Now, where does this jealousy come from? Everybody's
I,
hurting in the ghetto. Everybody is
mm-hmm.
hurting. So if I'm hurting and the other person is hurting, I'm going to be jealous if I see them get ahead before me.
Mm.
Because
You know
it's
what?
not,
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
it's like a crab in a barrel concept. You heard about that
Mm.
before.
Yeah.
Look,
Crab in
it's
a bucket. You try to get out,
crab.
they pull you down.
Exactly, because it's by design. It's just human nature. I don't care if it's Asians, blacks, Jews. If you put
Mm.
somebody in a close proximity and struggle to get a job, they're gonna kill each other in more ways than one.
If you look at society though, who are struggling the most is just like the people that have the most power. Black people, we have so much power. A lot of people don't understand everything that we see was created on the backs of us. Like, if we being honest, Elvis is not the king of rock and roll because he took things from black people and turned it. He didn't even change the lyrics. He just put it into a white version, and he gets praised for it while black people get down for it. And it's just like I was a supervisor at one of my jobs, right? And a friend I knew from a long time ago, I gave him an opportunity at the job, right? So he got hired me in position. And I was like, hey, man, I'm proud of you. And guess what he did? He fired me.
Mm.
And I was like,
Wow.
yo, what happened? Why are you doing that? He's like, I can't. He said, I can't have nobody getting in my way from getting to the top. And I was like, so I gave you an opportunity to hire yourself, and the person who helped you out, you're gonna fire them because you don't want you can't risk somebody else. And I spoke to him. I said, you know what that is. I said, you're not wanting to risk your position with master in the house. So basically, you want to be master's favorite. So any other Negro that's jeopardizing that is gonna get kicked out. And still a slave mindset, and
But
I'm just like,
it's security, bro. It's security.
It's a
yeah.
It's
slave.
And
It's
then
a
security.
people,
slave mindset.
like
It's
people,
what he
like
said.
even my cousin
It's what
doesn't
he
know
said.
this. Like
What you said, Tony?
my cousin doesn't know. Go ahead.
No, it is a slave mindset because if you think about it on the plantation, you had one position to be filled in terms of who gets to be, um, well, not one position to be filled, but it was this idea that, us versus them, and only one of us could be at the top with massa in the house with massa.
Mm-hmm.
And so you had to, secure that position because life wasn't as harsh as it would have been if you were in the field. And so it created this idea of crabs in a barrel, this mentality of crabs in a barrel. But and I hate when people even say that because it's like black people like crabs in a barrel. Like, okay, but the barrel is not the crab's natural
Yeah.
habitat. Everything
But
that we're
Yeah.
seeing
And that's
in terms of the behaviors is it's trauma. It's not culture, and that's the sad thing that
and it
people
hurt.
don't realize,
Good.
that they think it's culture, but it's not. It's trauma, generational
And
trauma.
it hurts me so much, when I speak to younger generations or even older generations. I be like, it hurts me so much that they think that this is who they are. They think that treating their woman like dirt and then telling her what she wants to hear is good. It's like you have to have this, have to have that to be a man or be successful. Like I was talking to an older fellow who's like 30 years old. I'm 23, and he's like, yo, why didn't you buck up on bro? Because I like my cousin doesn't know this about me, but I'm gonna just put it out there right now. I come from a very harsh background. Like my man Rich, who we say from the hood, I'm from the hood too, but I articulate myself, and a lot of black people tell me, "Oh, you talk white," and I was like, "No, I don't talk white. I don't want to be labeled as ignorant is black. That's not. I took my time to educate myself, and then it's just like they. So I used to fight a lot as well. So I used to like just demolish people for no reason at all, and no, they know me for that. So when they seen this dude call me a bitch because I didn't want to fight him over a seat. I said, you know what, brother, you can have it. He said, yeah, I got this seat. You bitch ass nigga, excuse me. And then the guys are just like, yo, Mike, yo, Rich, why didn't you beat him up? Da da da. I said, for what? He said, he called you you better than me. I'm just like, what do you mean? Like, he doesn't know me. Like, yeah, am I a bitch because he said it? You're like, nah. Like he can. I tell people this too. I say, I'm in that state of mind where words don't affect me anymore. Like I said, he could have called my mom a bitch, this, that, and the third, all of that, but he doesn't know my mother. He doesn't know any of those people, and they be like, oh, he's better than me. I would have to shoot him. Like, why is that your first resort? Because I tell people this as well. When you shoot somebody and you're committed of that crime and you go to prison, there's no guns in there. So everything that you try to avoid, you're gonna have to face in there. So it's just like it's an evil cycle. We're taught to be violent. We're taught to resort everything to violence. We're taught to. Have any of y'all seen Bad Boys for Life?
No, not
Okay, so
me.
The
there's a
movie you're
saying.
talking about,
There's a,
Bad Boys, the
no,
movie?
there's a saying. Yeah, there's the last movie. Have y'all seen that?
Wait, with Will Smith and Martin Lawrence?
Yeah, the last one, the new one, the third one.
I haven't
Mm-hmm.
seen it, King. Make your reference,
Okay,
brother.
Yeah,
so
I've
I'm
seen
not
it.
gonna spoil it, but there's a scene in there where Martin is like, well, Marcus, he's like, no, what's his name? Mike Lowry is saying, I'm trying to penetrate his soul with my heart.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't understand there's really a lot of power in that. Everything doesn't have to be fought with ease. You know, if people would take the time to sit down and understand the other person's pain, and the other person would take the time to, you know, listen. A lot of people give up because they're like, you know what, you're a lost cause. But you didn't like it when someone gave up on you. How'd you feel? You know, like, I don't give up on people. I may distance myself from them, but I tell them at the end of the day, hey, look, whenever you want to speak, whenever you want to talk, I'm here for you. And I feel like as a young black man, I didn't get that. So I was always enraged. I was always, you know, trying to find substance in everything. I trying to find substance in women, trying to find value in them. Like, yo, you give me my value, you make me happy, you know. But it's like that wasn't the case. I didn't love myself. I wasn't happy with myself. So how can I find substance in somebody else? Until I finally sat down, you know, and like looked at myself. You know, so.
But look how beautiful what you just said. This is what every black man in the hood needs to hear. And if you was here in Vegas or wherever, right, I would take you on the road with me when I do these things and go to the different, because they need to see. We're so used to secondhand in the book type of things. You have actually lived this, and you're a self-made man. I know you're a very young man, but you're already a self-made man. And see, this is the thing what the black men need to hear. See, we are very sane men and women, because women is affected by this hood too. That crab's in a barrel, that barrel, like Tony said, is not a crab habitat. So that ghetto is by design. That crabs in the barrel is by design. So you're going to create a monster from that hurt. The black men need to know, and they need to. I'm sorry for talking to you guys like a father, but you got me passionate, because this is an issue to me that is the issue. Good. The issue is hurt and healing, especially for black people, because the one thing we need to know to get to heal is we are very sane people, but in an insane situation. See, once you see that you are great, you will continue that. It's like, it's an old movie called The Wizard of Oz. And this girl was following this yellow brick road, and it reminds me of black people. And she meets the scarecrow. She meets all of these people that lack security, and she lacks security. She's trying to get home, but she's going through all of these ups and downs. And then she meets this good witch that they call it, which I call your inner self, and says, "What are you going through all of this for? You've been wearing the ruby red slippers your whole life. All you got to do is use them." And that's black people. We don't need to search outside ourselves for anything. We lost it. Our ancestors are with us. We are spiritual people. But we're so conditioned to look outside of ourselves. Oh, we got to get that car. Look, we've got the car. I got to get that degree. We've got the degree. I got to become president. We became president. It didn't work. I got to get my Jesus. We did that. I got to get my Allah. It don't work. All you got to do is look inside yourself.
And look in the damn mirror. Shit.
But you have when I look in the mirror, I see my cousin. That's weird.
You have to see this early in life.
Seriously, like, you gotta.
Yeah, it's true.
Yourself. Hey, Ma, you've been silent this whole time. Bless us with your grace, Queen.
And I'm listening to the youngins pass on some wisdom. You're never too old to learn.
And you know, it's crazy. I very much appreciate that, because a lot of older people tell me, like, they be like, "Oh, how you don't know anything? You haven't experienced anything." When the whole time I probably experienced a lot more than the people older my age, and it's not even that as well. It's I've grown to understand what they don't. You know, they've gone through so much. Like, I put it to you this way: my mom, she's in a pause mindset. She's at the age where she's like, no one's gonna tell me any different because I know everything. But you're gonna tell me I don't know everything, but you know everything. How's that work? I'm always trying to learn something, and I have older men trying to tell me, you know, you don't know anything, young blood, which da 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 da. And it's just like, well, my grandfather's 80 years old. How old are you? Oh, well, I'm 60. Oh, well, okay, all right. So, but I don't. But like she said, I can always learn something new. The difference is I'm willing to learn. I'm not one of those millennials that's just like, oh, I know everything. Hey, is there something? There's something I want to know. It's not you. I don't let people come to me first. I come to you first because I need answers. Why do I feel this way? Why is society like this? I need answers from someone who's already been through it. And
Well,
so when I
Rich,
go out, go ahead.
go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Can I?
When I go out and reach out to people, they're very baffled. They're like, "Yo, why is this young man doing that?" Because and it's very disappointing because they're used to seeing black men, do all this, do all that, and it's just like, yo, I want to be different for my daughters because something resonated with me that my mother said. She said, "Mike, you are meant to break generational curses. You're meant. There's been a generational curse from Adam and Eve. So you need to break that because you're the only one in this lineage on my mom's side who's just like, I've had enough. Me and my daughter's mom, I married her, but she still was dealing with hurt and I was still dealing with hurt. So of course my daughter suffered for that. And I haven't been with my father since I was 4 years old. And it's just like his father did that to him. That's why he's doing it to me. But it's just like, at a point in life, you have to sit back and say, you know what, enough is enough. It needs to be some order here. And like my cousin was telling me earlier on, as human beings, the only thing that we really connect on a chemical level is relationship. And it's true when people say love is the strongest thing of all. Love can combat anything because but they have people that love them that push everything to the side. And it's just like, that's the biggest thing. And I hear people tell me all the time, oh, well, love hurt. No, love didn't hurt nobody. The person that you felt loved you did not love you. That's why they hurt you, because their love wasn't real. They didn't know what love was. Don't put a false name on love. So
Brother, let me ask you a question, Rich. And first of all, thank you for coming on this platform. I want to be on this platform with you every time. Listen, I want to say this, and I'm going to ask you this question, Rich, and correct me if I'm wrong. Now, you said you came up and you challenged and you faced everything physically and all of this. Now, do you feel, looking back on things, I can see you're evolving. And I have a saying that there's nothing seen that isn't shown. And what you've shown me was better than some people I talk to 80, 70, and 60 years old. Okay. Now, looking back on it, Rich, do you see that when you was beating and fighting everything, the hurt was controlling you?
Yeah. And you know what's crazy? I don't regret any of that, because if I didn't experience any of that hurt, I wouldn't know what good was.
Right. Now,
I'm glad you said that.
Yes.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm glad you said that. A lot of times people go through life and, they would like, I have regret and I regret this and I regret that. But see, if you did not have that experience, you would not be at the place you are now. You have an old soul. You may be young in years, but you're old in spirit. Your
Yeah.
experiences earlier on in life, and probably even your past life, you have that still. And it has brought you to a place where you can look at life, pain, and whatever else it has to offer objectively, take from it what you will, and move on. And that's very good. I commend you on that.
You
Yes,
know
and
when
it
people say they
shows.
fight demons, I was for a long time, I'll be honest, since I was like 6 or 7 years old, I've been fighting myself. I've been fighting my true self for so long because it runs in our blood. My calling. Well, everyone's a pastor in their own form. My platform is music. That's my girlfriend, or my future wife. Her platform as a pastor is her school. She's a school teacher. That's her pulpit. When she's talking to those children, that's her pulpit. My pulpit is music, because it's just like, this is where I give off so much passion. This is where I give off so much everything that I've been through. It comes out in such a beautiful form. Pain, anger, resentment. I turn it into a masterpiece, And even if you look at paintings, people will say, that's horrible. Why does it look like that? But it's going for millions and billions of dollars. You know why? Because someone turned their ugliest pain into to a masterpiece. So yeah, I don't regret anything, because like I said, if I didn't go through that, I wouldn't understand that this is good, because I go on a deeper level. I'm discovering my higher self. Sadness and happiness are on the two opposite ends of the spectrum, but you don't let them control you, because the same thing that makes you cry is the same thing that's going to make you laugh. Sadness needs happiness, and happiness needs sad, because without sadness, happiness needs sadness to give itself a purpose. Because if I'm happy all the time, that's boring. I don't know what it feels like to go through something, or to push myself further to get to where I want to be. So that's why a lot of people that in the rich community are not really happy. Robin Williams was one of the most funniest comedians, and he killed himself because he wasn't mentally happy. So
I've recognized, right? And this is through my healing, that the things we tend to chase after is also running from us. So what I'm saying is, if you want to do something, just let it flow versus consistently picking at it, dwelling on it 24/7. Like, yes, this is what I want. Even through music, like Rich, I know you can relate, and you can relate as well. Because I write music too. So my most profound bars come when I am not thinking, when there's no thought. It just flows. Stanzas just fall into place with the rhythm, because the music, the instrument tells me what to write. So I write greater when I'm not forcing things. Picture going out there chasing the dollar, chasing the buck, this is that and the third. What you're sacrificing is your happiness. What you're sacrificing is your self-worth. What you're sacrificing is your relationship. Failing to connect with someone. Now, if our phones, we're so connected to this now, it's like if it goes off, we hear a blip, it's like, oh snap, yo, I'm important.
Right,
now. Like,
right.
remember I was telling you about the false notion of keeping up this fake importance. We forget what really matters. And the best form of healing starts with the man in the mirror. Period.
Yeah, and that healing comes from looking at yourself deeply. Rich, can't you see, Rich, that if you wasn't hurt so bad, you wouldn't have looked at life this deeply.
I definitely wouldn't. I definitely wouldn't. You know, like, man, I come from so much pain and agony, but the crazy thing is, I felt the taste of what I know I deserve. My mom is an RN, right? But I didn't know what she went through to get that. She has a $250,000 house that she sat there and watched build. My mom told me, she said, I'm gonna have a house and I'm gonna watch it be built from the ground up. And let me tell you, yo, that's exactly what happened 5 years later. My mom stood on property and said, this is gonna be mine, and I'm gonna watch it build up from the house up, from the ground up. And guess what? Every single year she went to that property, every single year, until there's like, yo, it's yours. We're building it from the ground up. How do you want it? So I was living with my mom for a little bit, and I was just like, there was mansions in that neighborhood, but the pain that I was going through, I couldn't appreciate it. So I left when I was 16, and I was struggling for so long to understand my own truth. And it's just like, I'm not happy with myself. I look at all this that I have, and I'm still not happy with it. I'm living in a $250,000 house, and I'm not happy. I've come from hearing gunshots and seeing people murdered on the sidewalk, and I'm not happy living in security. And it's just like, I was used to being in chaos because that's what I thought I deserved, until, you know, I fought with myself for so long, and I just like, you know what, I deserve better. And it's just like, even when I when I held my daughter for the first time, people are gonna take this the wrong way. I didn't think about her. I thought about me first. I said, you know what? I need to be the man that I know I can be first, so that she can have stability, and not only in the physical realm, but in her mental health state. You know, I see on posts all the time, people say, Make sure your woman is straight first. Make sure no. Make sure you're straight first. How are you gonna run a household when you're not even capable of running yourself? So it's just like I have to run who I am first before I can before I can lead the pack.
Yo,
I have
introduce
to
me to your
understand the
teacher.
power that I have.
Who been
You,
teaching you? Introduce me to him. You sound like a very wise person.
You said
hey,
introduce me to my teacher. It's me. I'm my teacher. Everything that I learned, I have like people don't understand, yo. I am very in tune. I am very in tune with the real world. This is right here that we're doing right now is just a film over what's real. You know, I can really put my spirit into the real world, and I can see myself, you know, building a church for youth and for anybody, for homeless people. One of my biggest aspirations in life is to build a building where people can get spiritual knowledge, have a gym. So if your mom's still at work, you have nowhere to go. Here, come here, play some ball, go swimming. We have showers for the homeless. We have beds for you to sleep in. We have education for you to learn if you want to get your GED. We have real knowledge for you. Like we have somewhere safe, somewhere secure that you want to be. And the reason why I'm like that is because I've discovered love is the most powerful thing ever. Even J. Cole said it. The strongest drug of them all is love.
yes,
Love
and it's so
is,
beautiful, so beautiful.
yeah.
And listen to him, Jermaine. Look, this thing that Rich is talking about. The title of this platform in this live is Beyond the Surface: Hurt and Healing. And Rich is talking beyond the surface. He's looking beyond the surface. He's talking about hurt and he's talking about healing. But none of that happens without looking at it deeply. And you can't get any deeper than love. Any army of love will beat any army of hate. Any
And
person,
Jermaine, go ahead, go ahead.
any person that's willing to die.
No, I'm gonna say something, Jermaine, real quick.
Go ahead.
Jermaine, you said who my teacher? That's what you asked? That's what you asked. You said who my teacher? Hey, look, I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell you something what you said earlier. Look in the mirror, Jermaine. That's my teacher. But Jermaine, you know, Jermaine installed a lot into me. He installed a lot over the short process. You know, I finally met my family like 2 years ago. I never knew they were so close to me when I was still living in Georgia. And for some reason, he wasn't at the I met him one time, and then something in me said, you know, hit him up, because none of my siblings would pick up the phone. They're so, like he said, they're so interested in their phone. They're so into their own selves. It's just like, yo, your blood is sitting here crying out for you're sitting there denying them of it. So I picked up the phone and we've been chatting ever since, and we've been on more. It's more than a chemical level. It's spiritual roots. Like it's deep embedded in DNA that what he's teaching me, and I'm receiving it so well because I know it's love. Even if he has to chastise me, even if he says, you know, bump what everybody else is talking about, what are you doing wrong? And the old me would have said, oh, what you mean? Oh, what do you mean? Like, but the new me is like, you know what? You're exactly right. Give me a second. Let me go look in the mirror and find out what I'm doing wrong. So I just want to, you know, say I am proud of you, Jermaine, for taking up that mantle. You know what I'm saying? As my sensei, as my Yoda to my Luke Skywalker. You know what I'm saying?
You stupid, bro.
That's
But appreciate the flowers, King. Go ahead, Rich. You got something you want to say?
Now I applaud you and Rich, because Jermaine, this is your gift, man. And you know, and we're on your platform. I gravitated towards you. I gravitated towards Tony. These are powerful people on this platform, and I love you all. And you guys knew each other before I knew you, but the vibration is there, and I'm just here to confirm it. And there's nothing more important to me than hurt and healing and helping our people. Now imagine our people coming together where they can open up with each other. This is the beautiful relationship that Jermaine and Rich has. Now, Rich, imagine the community, our neighborhood had a place where we can open up and have a relationship like you and Jermaine has, or Tony and Jackie has. This all it takes.
Mm.
This all it takes. It's not a hard thing. It's just a matter of opening up. Look, black people, we don't own anything. We're an illusion that we own something. If we come together and stop trying to keep up with the Joneses and outdo each other and say, look, I'm hurt and you hurt too. Now let's work together and stop. That's what the slaves did when they was free.
Thank you. Hold on. There we go. There we go. That's what I'm talking about.
That's what
I'm not better than you. You're not better than me. Yo.
No, we're not. The slave didn't the slave didn't tell her man, well, you ain't got a horse and buggy. I'm gonna leave you.
Right. I tell people that all the time. Like that white supremacy is an illusion, because guess what? No disrespect. If someone murdered Donald Trump right now, guess what? He gonna die just like every other human being. You're gonna bleed just like every other human being. You breathe the same air I breathe, toxic or good. You know, it's just like people. Like I'm glad you said that, because people think just because they have money, they're higher in standard. But one thing about it is, if your whole home burned down right now and all your assets were taken away from you, what are you now? You're a human being that you've always been. Don't put that illusion of money in front of you. Like, oh yeah, this. I feel like people put money as their bodyguard. They're like, yo, I've been through so much. Even with police, you know, a lot of people become police officers. You know why? Because they were bullied. So now they have power, and now they think they're better. And I don't get it. And then, like, another thing, Rich, we have to, in order for that to ever happen, the little community thing to happen, we have to know that we're safe in each other's presence. Because I tell you right now, my mom will freak out about with that many black people around her, because she's always thinking negative. Oh, some hoodlum's gonna come and do something wrong. Yo, you can't think like that. It even says, and I know I don't want to go there because some people aren't religious and spiritual. I'm neither religious, but I'm very spiritual. Some people say, it says, when two or more gathered in my name, I am there. So if everyone is on the one accord in the mind, like, yo, we're gonna be safe here, nothing's gonna happen. But there's like a handful of people like, yo, somebody gonna shoot this up. We're gonna do something stupid. Then it's all out of misconstrued. You know, it's like.
But it starts right here, Rich. You see what Jermaine is doing? You see this platform? You see the platform Tony has? Tony has a platform. Jermaine has a platform. This is where it starts. You got to have a platform where people say, hey, you know, this guy makes sense. Let me meet up with him. That's all George Washington did when he wanted to get the revolution and come over here from England. He knew England was bastards. He knew his own people was bastards. So, but we got to do the same thing George Washington did. You get some nice crew together and say, look, here you can open up. Of course, there's going to be people that never let go of Jesus and never let go of Allah. And look, we tried jobs and Allah, Jesus and Buddha and chanting and all. It don't work. It didn't work for us. You know, how long have you ever sat outside waiting for somebody and discovered that they're not coming?
My father.
Thank you.
That's dark humor for you. My bad.
No, that's why I'm laughing.
That's why I laugh. Like, my dad went to the gas station. He hasn't been back in 3 years. How long he had that gas station for? God.
You got a very big car to fill up.
The slave owners knew if we come together, it's over for them. That's why they gave us religion. Look, and those of you who's listening, who's scholars and want detail, go to your history and go to the year 1620 or 1660. King Charles II ordered all the slaves to get Christianity because the slaves was coming together with their so-called ancestors. Okay. And so we're battling black people that's been on this Christianity thing since 1660, okay? There's going to be a lot that's not going to come at us. There's going to be a lot that's going to say, oh, these guys are stupid. But they can't tell Rich that because Rich experienced it firsthand. What Rich is talking about, I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about Jermaine's cousin, this young man that's on the air with us right now. He can't learn that in school. They're not going to teach him what he knows in school. Mm-hmm. School is to de-educate you from Africa.
That's a slave mentality there. Schools are built like back in slave times. And that's why I always used to buck. No lie. They when in third grade, just don't laugh at this. I threw a desk at my teacher. Okay, so hold on, don't judge me. The reason why that happened is because my
You my hero.
yo, my teacher was a white male, and he was telling me something about black people that I felt right. Even if I was young, I felt right here. That's not right. And he kept trying to press me because when I was living with my mom, like my mom moved out of the hood into something, and that's my fault. I moved back into it, that's my fault. But so he kept pressing me, and I'm just like, yo, that's not, like that. So I felt like he was trying to make me out to be the slave in the classroom. So I picked up the desk and threw it at him. And they sent me to the principal's office to see if I was retarded. So they did this little field test on me, and guess what happened? Oh, Miss Thomas, something happened. Your son is actually borderline genius in the 3rd grade.
Hello.
Fourth grade, right? I got into a fight with a younger white gentleman, who was my age, telling me that, oh, well, the color of your skin is wrong. I said, well, guess what? The color of your skin comes from my skin. I was like, he got mad and tried. Well, of course, I had his girl too. All the girls were into me, but that's besides the point. That's why he said that to me, because he got jealous.
So this wasn't a family.
He got mad at me.
I don't know what he talking about. I'm listening, mommy. Listening.
He got mad at me because all the women were digging the golden brown boy. There's not the kids that are black. The kids that are black in there, guess what? They're not owning up to who they are. You got a light skinned boy. That doesn't matter. But it's just like I get so put down for being light that I'm, what I'm saying. But white people think, okay, I'm too black. But let me go back to topic. He got mad at me because he saw the energy that I gave off, and all the women were exuding it. Even some of his friends was like, nah, I'm gonna go play with Mike today. What the hell? What does this black little boy have that I don't have? I'm gonna go pick on him because of his skin. So he ended up swinging on me. I had that little Floyd Mayweather in me, that Mike Tyson. I ducked and I hit him. Boom, knocked him out. And it's just like, yo, when I knew that, I had power. Guess what? Sent back to the principal's office. Yo, let's test your son again. That was a fluke. We still think he's retarded. Guess what happened? They gave me an even harder. When I say they gave me an even harder field test, I'm like, you know what? You guys are trying. I eat for effort, but you're still gonna get a fail. Guess what happened? Oh, Miss Thomas, your son has actually scored a notch above genius level in 4th grade. Like, yo, stop trying my gangster boy. Like, yo, stop trying me. I'm very intelligent, and it's just like, yo, no, you can never undermine me. But it just goes to show that if they see power, they'll try to crush it. I know y'all heard about that gymnast. They're giving penalties to her because she can do things that other gymnasts can't do. Have y'all heard about that?
Oh yeah. But this has been a theme. This has been a theme all our life, Rich. Look, this is not what Rich does, a genius at 3rd grade and 4th grade. This is not what Dr. Sabi does. This is not what Muhammad Ali does. This is what black people do when they're not conditioned.
Right.
We're conditioned.
Right.
We're conditioned out of our spirituality. We're conditioned out of our greatness. We born with the ruby red slippers, but you conditioned out of it. You can't teach what Michael Jordan do. You can't teach what Kobe Bryant does. But
you can't.
Why is every black great man is either dead or got an asterisk by his name about some scandal? Because they know if you find out about yourself and people follow you and the hood follows that, it's over for them overnight. I'm not talking about process or nothing. We don't need a process. We don't need a method. We don't need a system. We don't need any. All we need to do is look at the ruby red slippers. It'll be over overnight. All we have to do is come together like we're coming together right now.
You know what's crazy? You're right about the Christianity thing. You're exactly right. I'm not religious.
Let's not attack anybody's.
No. I said he was right about the Christianity thing. Oh yeah, let's go off. That's off topic. Never mind.
Let's not attack anybody.
Let's stay on the love. On the love train.
But not even you're silly, bro. But not even that. Mom, do you have anything to add, or you just you're enjoying the entertainment?
Yeah.
Oh man, Ama, she fell
Huh?
asleep on us.
The next
Um,
stop that we make will. Oh, sorry.
but
Hey, there we go.
No, no,
um,
I'm not sleeping. I was actually on Facebook.
okay.
But I'm gonna definitely say this and go my way. I have to prep for tomorrow, so um, I'm gonna say, like, to wrap everything up and sum it up in a nutshell, like I said before, um, to get to a place where you can be okay, you have to learn to accept grief as a part of life, death
Mm,
as a part of life, all these things.
mm,
It's a part of life. You have to just learn how to, according to the saying, make lemonade, just make, learn how to live with it, because you can't get away from it. It's a part of the natural order of things. It's the balance that life affords us that we don't necessarily like. According to Rich, if there's no sadness, how can you explain joy? How can you explain happiness? It's a
mm,
balance. So at the end of the day, you learn to live with these things daily, and you get better at it with time. And I am getting better at it with time. But you're never too old, like I said, to learn. It's an everyday thing. You can't possibly know everything. That's just stupid.
mm,
According to the scriptures, a fool thinketh himself to be wise.
mm,
So we really need to understand that it's a part of life. Death is a part of life. Love and loss, losing things, losing love, losing whatever, pain. It's a part of life. You just have to learn how to manage it and have it not control you, like Rich said. You can't allow yourself to stay in that hurt too long. Then it controls you. Then the depression becomes suicidal thoughts, because then you have no control. And
mm,
you have to be strong enough. You have to want to live, to be strong enough to get over that. And some people, fortunately, we can do that, and then it have others that cannot, and therefore they end their lives. And this depression and hurt and pain, it's a real issue. And Black people have so much pride. We are such a proud people that if we admit that we need therapy, or we admit that we need help, it's because someone, or we see ourselves broken. And there's nothing wrong with needing help. There's nothing wrong with it. And we have to get to that place to help our children, because, again, a lot of young children are committing suicide. Why? And I mean children under 10 years old. What problems could you possibly have? And,
mm,
and 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 we're lost. We're lost as a nation of people, because we're so caught up in technology. It's about your phone. It's about Facebook. It's about Instagram, Snapchat. It's about everything else except family. And I think we need to heal from within. So as a family, if it's a Sunday, put away your cell phones at the dinner table. There are no cell phones allowed at the
mm,
dinner table. If you know dinner is 7 o'clock, so cell phones are off, or they're put away. When you get up from the table, then you can resume your normal activity. But we need to start communicating and talking to our children, talking to our family members, so we can stop burying them. And with that, I say
mm.
good night to all. It's been a pleasure. I do have a long day tomorrow.
Peace, Queen.
Hey,
Love
Jackie,
and
before you go,
gratitude.
Love.
before you
Yes,
go, Jackie, I just want to thank you, gratitude to you for being on here this long, really.
I appreciate it. It's all, like I said, I've learned a few things. I've, come to the realization that I'm still healing. We all are, from something or the other, we're healing. And it's important that we do this. We communicate and we talk to each other. And I appreciate the opportunity to express myself. God blessings to you all. Have a good night.
Good night.
Gratitude, Queen.
Yeah, man. I'm glad I met you, Rich. And it's see, brothers, this is what it's about. Jermaine, this is what the platform is about. It's what the platform is about.
And to everybody that actually participated and stuck around for the marathon, I would say gratitude to you. Love, live, connect. Love, live, connect. Rich, it's always a pleasure, King.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Gratitude for being on here, for being so damn passionate, man. I hope you have that same energy for the one that we're doing tomorrow.
Here, man.
On
I'm
the
here.
book. So
it's only the beginning.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned.
So you make sure you get some rest, young buck, okay?
No. We're actually gonna end this with your solutions. So don't even try to run.
Hey, my apologies.
Okay.
My
You're fine,
apologies.
King. It's a great thing you came back. What advice would you give to your younger self?
Me?
Yes, sir. Youngings first.
Oh dang, thank you.
My pleasure, King.
But I thought it was age before beauty, but you know, I never mind. I'm messing with you. Look.
Stupid.
Look. Only thing I would tell myself, honestly, I go back to I go back to 4-year-old me, man. Matter of fact, I'll go back to somebody who understand more. Let me go back to, I'll say about 13-year-old Mike. I'll go back to talk to 13-year-old Mike and tell him, look, man, everything you're going through, let it ride. You know, some things you can't avoid. Some things you definitely can't avoid if you sit down and be at peace, you know, like. But one thing I do want to tell you, man, you are worth it. You don't find your value in a woman. Don't find your value in your father. Don't find your value in yourself. Because look at these songs you wrote. You sit there in the dark and you think you're alone, but look at the blessing and the creativity that you have inside of you. Just know that you're worth it. There's gonna be hurt. There's gonna be pain. But what I want you to understand is you push through that hurt. You push through that pain. And I can guarantee this as a promise. In the end, everything will be all right because there's going to be pain. There's going to be suffering through life. But life is like a test. Every time you pass a test, a new one shall come. But when that old test come back, it's a piece of cake because you already know how to handle it. So, look, I love you, Mike. Be great, King. That's definitely what I tell myself.
Okay.
Thank you, brother.
Appreciate that. Rich,
God, that.
What advice would you give your younger self?
Oh, I would say, look here, young buck. Nobody knows everything. And can't nobody tell you where they're going because they don't know where they're going. Can't nobody tell you where you're going because they don't know where they're going. And to make this short, the only thing that knows everything is nature. Is where we come from. We come through our parents. We come from nature and the universe. So that voice in your heart, you're never alone. But know the difference between the voice in your heart and your thoughts or what somebody told you. Now, education and people's advice, it has its place. But it has no place in you finding you. See, you have to look deeply into yourself. Don't be a slave to society. Don't live under pressure. Don't live under stress. We can't avoid stress, pressure, hurt, and disappointment, but don't let it control you. Don't live under it. Stress and all of that thing is just what it is. But hurt and sadness, It's things that we create. It's a result of doing something wrong. There's no such thing as mistakes. You're learning. Because if you look at a mistake, we got to battle the action that happened, and we got to battle this word mistake now. Don't deal with complications. White supremacy and the conditioning of black people have black people dealing with complications. Black people have a spirit to simplify things. This is why you have to trust yourself. Look into yourself deeply, because superficialness is what causes sadness. Superficialness is what leads to hurt. Superficialness is what leads to disappointment and struggle. But when you look at yourself deeply, you discover less is more. And that means don't be a slave to society. Don't live under pressure and stress. Trust yourself.
Respect that. What I would tell to the younger me, damn, that last live you did was a marathon. You should have ended that like an hour ago. But
You stupid, yo. You stupid, yo.
But with all seriousness, I would look at myself and I would tell myself that everything is a part of the process. It's a part of what's supposed to happen. But you could have alleviated a lot of things. Regardless the lessons you have learned from that. Focus more on yourself and focus more inward, because all creation comes from within. Your true brain is the one beating in your chest, your heart. If that stops, everything stops. Love is created by you, therefore it's passed on by you. Respect, embrace, be careful what you ingest, whether physically, whether orally, whether through your ears. Protect your energy as always. And remember, you are great. Be great. Be that flow. And with that statement, I end it. Mental roller deck. Peace.
Peace. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, brothers. Thank you, kings.